Awesome. Welcome, everybody. This is Manhattan Community Board 1's Executive Committee. I'm Tammy Meltzer, calling the meeting to order at 6:05. We have a ridiculously robust agenda tonight, so we're going to try and be clean and clear, not talk over anybody, let everybody have their say, then move to the next person, try and keep it as organized and tight as we can because full board is tomorrow. So please recognize whatever we do here tonight has to get done overnight to be able to post for a resolution online for tomorrow. So with that, we're going to keep tight to our suggestions and timelines. We're going to start with a discovery reform proposal from the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. Eric Straza and Peter Say are here. I believe both online with us.
Yes.
All right, take it away, gentlemen. Let's roll.
Okay, thank you, Eric. You got unmuted. Go take it away.
Thanks so much, Peter. And just want to say a huge thank you to the board just for letting us kind of really quickly spend some time on this topic at this meeting, and for also providing the virtual option for us. It was a huge help. Looking forward to talking a little bit about Discovery today. Don't know how much everyone knows about Discovery, but I'll kind of start at its most simple version and work to providing a little bit more detail. I want to call your attention really quickly to two things that we recently put out about Discovery. That is our Discovery Reform fact sheet, which might be helpful just kind of as an aid to some of the stuff we might be talking about today. Along with the sample resolution with some suggestions for community boards. We found that some boards have found it really helpful, I think, because for two reasons. One is that we know we're working with relative time constraints, not necessarily on you all, but on our office, as we know that a lot of these conversations are occurring in Albany as early as March. And we know that the topic is complex. You know, there's a lot of moving parts. There's some legalese, things like that might not be readily apparent to everyone. So at least want to have an opportunity here to speak to you guys and answer any questions that you might have. So my name is Eric Straza. I am the Supervisor of Community Engagement for the Manhattan DA's office. Really quickly, can just start off by giving you a quick overview of what Discovery is. For those who might not know, I'm sure some of you are familiar, but it relates to basically any records, documentation, basically all evidence that our office as the Manhattan DA's office or any DA's office in the country needs to hand over to the defense for them to understand the case against them so that they can make informed decisions while they get ready to prepare for trial, potentially take a plea deal, plead guilty, make the decision to go to trial, all of the above. As a really quick example, sorry, I can hear myself a little bit, so if I'm getting distracted, my apologies. If you don't know, there were some reforms that were passed in 2019 and went into effect in 2020. Basically, they're wide range of criminal justice reforms. Oftentimes people talk about bail reform, but we think that something that doesn't get nearly enough attention is discovery reform and its impact both on law enforcement partners, our office at district attorney's offices, victims, defendants, kind of everyone across the spectrum who's operating in this space, and I'll get into that in a second. So those reforms in 2020 effectively made it so that it changed the standard of what we have to disclose and hand over before trial to everything that relates to a case. And I use that intentionally. The language was changed to relates to a case. And if you can imagine, that has extremely expansive and encompassing implications for basically anything that's touched a case, whether or not it would be prejudicial to the defendant, would be useful in our case, would be useful in the defense's case. So even things that we might not even use at trial, it's stuff that we need to basically still hand over within New York's uniquely short time frame, which I can get into the timeframes in a second as well. So while we agree with the intent of these reforms that defendants should be privy and should have in their possession all of this evidence that we would use at trial, we know prior to the reforms, for instance, that critical evidence was sometimes not disclosed, until the eve of trial, and that created issues for the defense. So we are in support of the intent of the reforms. However, we've seen a lot of unintended consequences, like a huge uptick in case dismissals citywide, oftentimes just because we're unable to track down evidence that's not in our possession. And again, things that would not necessarily relate to the actual charges against somebody or something that would be used at trial. So really quickly, in our fact sheet, we went over a few key findings. I can just give you the top line of each of the 4 items that we highlighted as things that we think the community and stakeholders should know about. First one being that, like I said before, there's been a huge uptick in criminal case dismissals. I think it's important to keep in mind that these cases are disproportionately affecting low-level cases. And the way that we think about low-level cases are misdemeanors as opposed to felonies. But we also know that a lot of misdemeanors can have a huge and oftentimes outsized effect on the community members, victims, things like that. It's just that as a matter of law, being guided by the criminal statutes, we are just not able to argue that something is a felony case. You know, it just fits into in what we call misdemeanor world. So just for instance, to give you kind of a top line stat, in 2023, the overall NYC case dismissal rate was 62% compared to 42% in 2019 pre these reforms. That represents a 48% increase in case dismissal rate. And just to put a more concrete number on it, around 20,000 more cases were dismissed citywide. Each of those, it's difficult to conceptualize, but just to keep in mind, each represents a victim of a crime who was not able to see justice for their individual case. Number 2 is that the discovery requirements we feel are onerous and inflexible. Again, it relates to the relates to standard that I just recently mentioned. I think it's also important to keep in mind that those reforms tied discovery to what's called a speedy trial clock. And it's different for different cases. For misdemeanors, that clock is a lot shorter. It's basically the time by which we need to say, we are ready to present this case and move forward on this case. For misdemeanors, it's 90 days. And for felonies, it's 6 months. So you can see that there are pretty significant discovery implications when we have 6 months on some cases versus 90 days for some other ones. And I think a really important thing to keep in mind is that, even with these reforms and recommendations that I'll get into in a second, we will be, by far the most transparent and open discovery state still in the country. New York is right now the only state that ties penalties for discovery violations to an automatic case dismissal. So it put another way, again, victims in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Connecticut, where they would see a resolution, they are not able to see justice for the same case should it happen in New York oftentimes. Number 3, one of the key findings we found was that despite the 2022 amendments, which I'll get into in a second, there are still these dismissal issues that we're seeing based on what is now considered a technical issue because there were amendments passed to kind of address exactly what we're talking about. However, since the speedy trial statute, that thing I mentioned before guiding, the thing that was tied to discovery and kind of guides when we need to present an answer ready on a case, since that statute didn't also adopt the same language and have similar amendments that applied to it, we're basically in the same space where judges are still dismissing a case based solely on those speedy trial laws. I know this is a lot of information. I'm going to open it up in a second. Really quickly, though, the 4th finding is that we're seeing a lot of the defense representation and defense counsels using the current discovery statutes for tactical reasons, basically lying in wait until the last second where they can raise an objection to say, hold on, the DA's office actually didn't get us this specific record on this case. Again, even if it doesn't have necessarily a material impact on our case or a case that they might present in the future, so that it's right up against when the speedy trial clock would run. That would conclude. We obviously wouldn't be able to track that down in time, and that can trigger and often does trigger an automatic dismissal. So basically, after studying the impacts of these changes to the statutes over the last few years, what are our recommendations? We have 3 recommendations, and these are kind of reiterated in that sample resolution to the degree that it would be helpful for you all. But the 3 key things for us are really just requiring proof of prejudice before dismissing a case for discovery noncompliance, basically saying that this piece of information would have actually impacted the case, and then a judge can determine that we might be discovery non-compliant. I think another thing to keep in mind is that we're not recommending that we hand over less material or less discovery. It's just that the failure to do so within that time period for again records that aren't important to the case wouldn't result in an automatic dismissal. I think tying it to that case dismissal is the thing that's really key for us. Number two, we would hope to require the defense attorneys to challenge discovery violations within a timely manner. We recommend that they would be required to challenge a prosecutor's disclosure certification. That's basically what we're talking about here, saying that we've disclosed all of the important material related to a case within 35 days. And then the third recommendation is specify what materials must be turned over for an initial certification of compliance. Basically saying that within that speedy trial time, we are able to kind of delineate what records are important to our case, would be important to the defense, things that are material, could be prejudicial, things that we absolutely should produce and disclose. Then after that initial compliance deadline, after that speedy trial clock, we would still be required to produce all of the other records and documents, even if they are not prejudicial. It's just that uniquely short time period that really requires us to use a lot of resources to track things down, but also even if it is a good faith search for those records to disclose them, if we're unable to do so in that time period, again, that dismissal is triggered. So happy to go through the resolution as well. I know that was a ton of information, so sorry to kind of just flood the group with a bunch of context and background, but if anyone has any questions, any thoughts, I'd be happy to answer them. And I just want to emphasize again, I think even after these recommendations, we believe that New York State will have the most transparent discovery laws in the country still. It's simply the matter of these case dismissals that is concerning us, and the rest of the DAs. The rest of the DAs in New York City have signed on to this, and it's supported by Governor Hochul's 2026 to 27 budgetary plan. So I'll stop right there. Again, sorry to go on for so long, but again, thanks so much for the opportunity to talk to you guys about it today.
Okay, Eric, we're going to go around the room. First, for questions, it'll be Mark, and then I'll go to the lawyer. Yes, Mark?
Not a lawyer, but I don't know if this falls under the auspices of what you're talking about. So when a crime is committed and somebody witnesses the crime, is it true that the disclosure of the witness and their address and their name is required to be turned over to the defense for the person who committed the crime to also see?
So just want to start out by saying I'm also not a lawyer, so I'm right there with you. I'm going to take back any questions that I might not be able to answer today and get you guys a response to them as quickly as possible. However, my understanding for a response to that specific question is that yes, there are periods during the process from an arrest to a case's disposition and closure, where there are sometimes instances where we do need to disclose witnesses or victims' information. I think it really depends on what stage of the case we're talking about. For instance, grand jury proceedings, when somebody's investigated, ultimately indicted on a grand jury, those proceedings are secretive, so there is no disclosure of witness information, things like that. But further down the line, answering ready for trial and things like that, I think that is a stage at which some witness personal identifying information is disclosed. Of course, we're mindful of things that we can potentially redact. If there's addresses, phone numbers, things that we can argue is sensitive, we'll make an effort to protect the victims, the witnesses, should we be able to do so. I don't know if there are specific instances you were looking for more clarity on. Obviously, I can take that back.
My recollection was when all the changes came about was that the district attorney was required to give the witness information to the defense within 3 days. In other words, you're a million years away from a trial, but the potential bad guy finds out who the witness is, and who the hell would want to be a witness if that's the case. So
Okay.
I'm trying to get a clarification if that's true and if anything could be done in what you're working on to fix that.
Mark, I can have Peter follow up with you directly,
Okay,
if you're okay with me sharing your information with Peter.
just as long as he doesn't give it to the district attorney.
All that.
Peter works in the
information.
city's office.
I'm kidding. Yeah, no problem.
Thanks, Jeff.
I hadn't heard of this proposed legislation until preparing for this meeting, so I haven't had a chance to look at the statutory language, if there is even statutory language to look at, because I realize that this just came out. And I generally supported the reforms that were passed in 2019, but like lots of reforms, I think they had a number of unintended consequences. And certainly in my capacity as a community board member, the various people in my community complain to me about things. And although there's not lots of people that talk about the criminal justice system, there is sense that's been expressed to me that that low-level crimes don't get prosecuted. I mean, my doorman just told me the other day, he lives up in the Bronx, that his car was broken into, and well, I won't get into it, but the cops basically wouldn't do it. It was all on videotape, but they wouldn't arrest because he wasn't going to be prosecuted.
Animal cruelty as well.
But what I want to say is, I think the support of the Manhattan DA, the Bronx DA, neither one of which I think could ever be accused of over prosecuting minor crimes, or in support of this legislation says something. According to the governor's website, Tish James has issued a supportive statement. So I'm prepared to defer to them. These are appropriate corrections to the reforms.
Okay, anybody else in the room with questions or comments? Seeing none, do I have anybody online? Elizabeth? Paul? Yep, I don't see any hands up online. Oh, Justine, sorry, Justine, we're moving you over. Okay, Justine, you're up.
Thanks so much. Thank you. Sorry, putting my camera back on. Sorry about that. Thank you for letting me ask the question. So, Eric, I have a question because I'm reading it kind of as you're talking. So it looks like something struck me. What is the basis for the 65% dismissals? Discovery errors because the prosecution has not provided information, or the defense hasn't asked for it? Like, what's the usual deal that knocks it out? I am a lawyer, but not a criminal lawyer.
Yeah, so obviously here we're talking about it in the aggregate, kind of what we're seeing after the reforms have passed. I know that a good amount of that 48% increase in citywide dismissals is due to discovery reasons. And again, oftentimes that relates to information that otherwise would not really have a material impact on the case one way or another. So I can try to get you a little bit more granular stats or detail on those. I feel like it could be helpful here. If you think it'd be helpful, we can circle back. You can circle back with Peter, and we can see what we can get you guys there.
That would be helpful. I would like that, Peter, if you're willing. You can get my information from Zach or whatever. I don't care. But I can't put it in the chat because I don't have the power. But yes, I would love to get that information just to get a sense of it. And looking again online, it looks like the governor's proposal is looking to prevent disclosure of witness information unless it's absolutely necessary. And I'm going to imagine at the grand jury level, as you said, it's not disclosed, but before trial it would be, because the defense has the right to interview the witnesses potentially, or at least know what they're saying to prepare an adequate defense. But
Right.
that also then creates what was said. So it's a hard balance to strike, but thank you. Thanks, Tammy.
All right, thanks,
I'll get
Justine.
back to you, Justine.
Okay,
And
so
just
Peter,
to, sorry,
Eric,
just,
hang on.
okay.
Hang on. That's two follow-ups for you, Peter, one with Mark and one with Justine. So I'm going to leave that on your shoulders too. Please reach out to Zach to get the information. All right. Please give him some grace because tomorrow is full board. So please, not before 6 o'clock tomorrow. I do have questions for you, Eric. So I have two questions.
Please.
My first, thank you so much for the model resolution. It's always very helpful when people come with some documentation. Can you tell me if there are any other boards in any other boroughs or in Manhattan that have signed on so far, or are we the road best?
So there's other boards that we've spoken to, I think, because again, we're kind of making the push with the conversations in March. We're kind of at this stage with a lot of the other boards where, we're providing the resolution, but oftentimes people just want to hear more about the topic. So we're kind of doing our community board tour right now, and speaking to them as they think this through. We can be sure to update you as soon as any other boards kind of respond affirmatively or in one way or the other, and we can keep you updated on that. But
All right, since it is, and I'm trying to keep it super tight tonight, it is up to the committee whether we want to just continually process, do a little bit more research, or pass a resolution tonight. Betty?
Get the information they said they're sending to us.
Okay.
There's no time constraint, I think that we really should have further discussion.
Okay, so Eric, and Peter, thank you very much. I'm gonna say, follow up with us in March. And we'll talk about, hopefully we'll have all the information by then and we'll be able to do a resolution in March, okay? But I leave it incumbent, Peter knows how to find us. He's very good at it, so, don't let us forget. And we'll put it on our agendas for March. All right?
sounds great. Thank you guys for the time so much. I can expand with a little bit more detail too at kind of offline. Don't want to take up too much of your time now, but if anyone has any more questions or wants some more information, please feel free to reach out to me or Peter.
No, we definitely will. I have no doubt.
Thank you very
Have a
much.
great meeting tomorrow night.
Meeting, have a good night.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Right. So secondly, we want to welcome 10 South Street for the Battery Maritime Building. I think Max is with us, correct, from Midtown Equities? Yep. Hi, Max. Good to see you. And I believe Gigi is here from EDC as well. Thank you, Gigi. So, Max, take it away. Do you have slides or anything for us tonight?
No, we were advised that this would be more of a Q&A and responsive.
Do you have any of the annual reporting from 22, 23, or 24?
We do.
Oh, great. Can we have those?
Yes. We had reached out asking for where we should send the soft copies, but we have some printouts here. So maybe I'll just give you all the ones that we have.
Did you make enough for everybody, as they say?
There's 6 there. 6 there. Oh, we've got 6.
And can you,
But we will send over the soft copies as well. So this is from inception. We'll have
pass everything except for one for. What do you check?
You have my.
yes.
Yeah.
Great. Yes,
Exactly.
I will send it to you. So so this is a roll-up of various different things, which will be packaged. We have a package 2024 report, and then that will continue every year. But this is a roll-up of everything when we started, which I think was so responsible.
So I'll just go through the checklist that we have and some of the things you said in 22 for us. In 22, in response to the swing space in Loja, they're supposed to be open from 9 to 5. And then the Great Fall for qualified organizations, right? At least 58 times a year. I don't know how many times a year you've done that. We can check each pound.
Yeah, well, the answer is, you'll see there, I think it's 11 total exposures. Some smaller number, I believe, 8 for these actual events. What we have found since then is the space is open and available to qualified organizations. We worked with EDC to finalize the criteria for organizations. That's been on our website now for the better part of I don't know, a few years anyway, a couple of years. And we get inquiries, but what we find is a lot of these smaller organizations don't so much benefit from available space. They also need operational support, grant money, and things of that nature. So we wind up having large organizations, you'll see under EDC, the Coast Guard, Department of Public Services, organizations that civic-minded purpose, but also don't need a $20,000 check to put on an event because they don't have any money to do anything. And that's not even paying us money. That's paying for installation or session breakdown. So that has been one of the challenges, and we are working through internally some proposals that will likely come back to this group and to EDC to discuss, trying to bridge that gap.
The swing space in the loggia, they're supposed to be open for public access as well as public access to the hall floor.
So, the space is open. We have it open for chaperone tours of the space. You can go on the website and book a tour. You can walk up to the person at the door and request a tour. You will see in there that there's a list of people that have walk-up tours or have booked.
My curiosity is it whether that list of walk-up tours that you have on that short list is actually clients doing site tours for events and not walk-up tours. I know I myself looked for a walk-up tour and was told, so sorry, this is private building, private events, we don't do tours. So,
When was that?
last year.
I would love to, if that happens, you should let me know.
We have emails from people that we have forwarded.
It happened.
It happens.
You have to just know it happened.
It happens. So we would like to see what was promised in the lease with EDC come to full fruition for the public. It is a National Historic Building. We can go through it. I understand you've had troubles with your full-time cultural coordinator. That to me is.
That's not, we,
That's what we were
That's
told.
what we were told, is that you had somebody and then then you didn't have anybody and then you hired again.
yes. We, as normal course of attrition, we had someone for a long time. She left and as people do, they take new opportunities and she was replaced fairly quickly.
In 22, you had told us that the Great Hall would be available from 9 to 1 on 100 additional days beyond, what was it? Do you have the dates that the hall was available in any of them, a schedule, any of that?
We can probably pull one together. I think there may be some discrepancy here between, and I understand this, what the community board views as, open to the public and what our obligation actually is to keep it public.
That's what I was gonna ask. What is your idea of what's open to the public?
Well, the obligation, the legal obligation is just that, to keep it open to the public. It's not to program it. It is not to, it is to promote it. And we have been doing those things.
So we were never told that it was not public. We never expected it to be programmed. We were told years ago that it'd be open to the public, that there would be some sort of concession stand in there, that if we wanted to go sit in there and have
Subtenant
coffee.
food services
could.
were
It wasn't
required
allowed
to
to
provide
tourists.
food during
Right,
public
it was
opening.
open to the public.
When that agreement was hammered out between the city and this community board, there was a different developer in the building.
No, this is the current one that is for you, for Midtown
No,
Equities.
I understand, but when you are quoting visions that were developed for the prior developer, when the plan for the building was to have a public space, a market in the Great Halls. That's when those provisions were developed. That's why it talks about subtenants, that's why it talks about things of that nature. There are no subtenants in the building. Full stop. So you can't have any food-related subtenants. The way that was bridged when that developer went bankrupt was to ensure the.
Max, I'm gonna save you some face here. In 22, when your company came to us with Casa Cipriani, we were promised from the slides, the lounge will offer a range of food and beverage options and will afford the public a comfortable place to sit and relax.
The lounge is open and available.
Public restrooms will be available for use on
They're
the
not open.
second floor mezzanine adjacent to the lounge.
I've never been able to go there.
So even
A
if you don't have
dedicated
food,
elevator
right.
will be made available to the public to access the lounge and the restrooms during public hours.
Mhm.
These are on your,
Sorry, I misunderstood. We're talking past each other. The-
none of this has come to fruition.
No, that's all in place. That's all in place. There is a lounge that is open to the public. There is an elevator. There are public
Okay,
bathrooms.
so let me just ask.
Great.
So I don't want a tour. I want to just go sit in, I can just come in and sit down?
Please do.
Okay, we will all be there next week. We will all come in.
So for the record, where one goes to sit, what days and times we.
There's some
Yeah,
wayfinding restrictions.
No. What does it include? if you don't mind?
What the actual cafe includes.
What are your hours and what are your times?
Yeah,
Days of the week and what are the hours? Just so people who are Either not in this room could hear him.
Hours right now, business hours, 9 to 5. And enter through the on-street entrance. Monday through Friday, second floor mezzanine is correct. There are restrooms up there as well. There's wayfinding signage and a doorman to help. My name's Craig, sorry. I work at Cipriani. Able to help you get up to that space if you're unfamiliar with it.
And is something being served there, like coffee and such?
Yeah, beverages, food, yeah.
Closes at 5, opens at 9, closes at 5.
And there's supposed to be a requirement that is listed, the public hours on the website, that's not there that we could find unless it's hidden.
Some
somewhere.
signage downstairs.
It says the cultural coordinator will develop and maintain a calendar of public hours and events on the BMB website. You can sign up for a tour, which requires advanced reservations, but there is no calendar of public events.
Well, it's largely because we are having trouble scheduling, but as the issue that I just mentioned, this issue with small organizations not having the financial wherewithal to, put on events in the state, so we do put them on the website, there just aren't that many. We can solve this issue because we do not have a,
But public hours is what you posted. There are no calendar of public hours for the public to walk into the space. The Great Hall was supposed to be available for public access from no fewer than 58 days a year. That's what we were told by the current operator and the current ownership, and we have not seen any calendar of public hours.
sorry, can you just tell me what you're reading from?
The slides that you sent us in 2022 that were presented.
Okay.
I'm looking directly at your slide presentation.
I'm trying to respond. I'm
You can
not-
put it up,
Yeah.
use that.
Zach, can you share screen so you can see his slides from 22?
Sure.
And I'm still confused, because we can go have coffee. There is
You
someplace.
can, yes.
But I thought you said there isn't.
No, I was saying that provision about subtenants of a food nature, that was originally supposed to be in the Great Hall.
Start-
That
yeah.
that was scrapped.
All I cared about is that we were told we could go.
There,
Go have a coffee, go have one.
Yes.
Are we required to buy something?
No.
Is it? No, we're not supposed to.
Okay, so here's public activation and programming. This is your slides from September of 2022. And if we go to the next one,
Bullet 3. Yes. Understood, yeah.
so you can understand and appreciate my ire and frustration and adherence to the public is not getting what the public was expecting, because we were excited about you opening. And in 22, we were told, we don't have our community coordinator yet, but we're working on getting it all done. We'll have someone on board by the end of the year, and it'll be a great thing. We'll get everything so we were patient for 23. In 23, it didn't happen. We saw no reporting from anything. And there's a requirement in the lease to report to the community board, PDC and EDC. There was no reporting. We asked many times. We've had many people stop by to see if they can gain access. Well, when is it open? We're not open. This is a private club. This is Casa Cipriani. So we reached out, and the lovely letter that I got back was, we think we're in full compliance. So I'm not being snotty. I'm just this is what we were told in 22, and this is what we want. We're in 25 now. And I just don't understand why a company as profitable and well done as the two high-end people who are there cannot manage to do what was promised for the public. And that does not work for the public and doesn't work for our relationship with EDC either. And Gigi knows this. We've not been quiet about this because we expect to see everything on the website. I want to go look at if it's not on Casa Cipriani and it's somewhere else, you find a link to where it is that I can look and see exactly what you told us, which was the 58 days with expanded each year. What are those days that the public is welcome to come in?
And also 9 to 10, and you just said 9 to 5.
Yep.
It says
Well,
9 to
9
10.
to 10 is.
This is 11 consecutive hours.
I'm sorry, I can't.
Those are the expanded access days in the summer, which is July 7th to August 10th, December 24th to 29th, and January 2nd to January 10th.
I hear you. I think that there is clearly desired additional public access and public utilization of the building. I think that we need to be mindful of this space as a use space. I don't know that, I think our vision for the space is one of robust programming and allowing not just opening the space up for these large organizations that are, while civic minded, not necessarily doing anything for local residents. I think that there probably should be a conversation about how to better engage with the community. I think we're going to have that conversation.
It sounds like that conversation needs to happen internally because the public conversation has already happened. And when the public comes, we're being sent away. So it seems like there's a misunderstanding within this building, within your teams, but not this.
That may well be the case in certain
I've
situations.
seen, and I'll just interject, I've seen, so there's two separate entrances. I think some of you have been there, some of you may not. The one on the street access is where the public can enter. Many times guests are directed inside to the hotel, which is a private entrance, which is they're going to be turned away from there. We should be doing a better job at that point. If somebody comes in there and says, what's going on? No, you have to make your way back out to the front entrance. And also truthfully, there isn't as much traffic, so I don't know how, I'm sure some of you went yourselves, but I can tell you over the last months and many months, there hasn't been a lot. You can see in the cafe upstairs, over a course of a month, I mean, there's very few people that are going in there. We're keeping it open, because that's our obligation.
In fact, I think that's because people don't know.
And when the public comes to the door, you're telling me there's no traffic. That's because you have a doorman or a bouncer downstairs that basically tells the public, unless you're a registered guest at the property or a club member, you are denied access. So we've had the conversation. We have more slides that we can show you what the promises made to the public were, which include lovely photos of the loggia area in the summertime. Right? That was not opened either. And so I hear what you're saying. We would love to help you out and put more business in your cafe. I'd also love to be able to use the restroom there. But I promise you, it's not open to the public.
I can attest, I'm sure that it's been better over the last number of months. I don't know how many, at least 5 or 6 months. I've had conversations we have one doorman there, and he is very active, and he knows our stance, and he lets people come in.
Better since October 2nd, perhaps?
Who's that?
Better since we sent the letter in
I think it's
October
even
2nd?
prior to that, but yes, I mean.
So why don't we just test it? You'll do what you need to do to make it work.
We need the website needs to be updated. The website has to have all the information. You have to be able to list the days that the public is allowed access, the days that the cafe is open. It is one of the most exclusive private clubs and no public access. And that is not at all what, not only the agreement with EDC, but that the operator promised the public in 22. Jared and then Alice.
This is just a question for the uninitiated here. The Great Hall space for qualified organizations, how does that work?
There's a form on the website. You just click on the form. There's a couple of questions and it'll put you in contact.
The idea behind it is like, I guess I'm trying to get, is it the idea to use it as community space or is it an opportunity for a nonprofit to host a catered event there?
Or an exhibition? Neither. I think it's somewhere in between. It is meant for qualified organizations to put on community serving events. But it is not something that is meant to be a gala or a fundraising opportunity. The ticketing is supposed to be essentially free.
Got it.
So as an example, PD Lee, Vice President from Government and Community Relations at EDC. EDC held, and many of you were there, a Five Eyes Seaboard open house in the space, which we were not charged for, and it was an open event that anyone could register and come into and have access to all the spaces that were just talked about. I can only speak to that one event because that's the only one event that I've been at, but that is an example of an event that they hosted that was open to anyone in the community.
Got it. So it's for qualified organizations to host community-oriented events, not for qualified organizations to host their own events for fundraising.
I was, we were told that it was open for fundraising events, Dan, so I'm a little curious to hear what Max has to say, because.
Fundraising events would not fall under the rubric of Exhibit N. It's not, it would be. The space is available, obviously, for, nonprofit galas and that nature, but, that wouldn't be considered a public access, event. If it's ticketed, it's gonna be a private event. Understood.
Can I just ask, is there some reason we can't just sort of put this to bed in the way that a website update? Is there something that you're against about having the person downstairs and having some sort of sign made, and even a sign in your Lamb Club Hotel that says for members of the public who are interested, who are not members, for non-members interested in seeing the space, the door next door or whatever is open 9 to 5? I mean, why wouldn't you do that? I mean, is there a reason not to do that?
Well, we have some signs out there now that you can take your phone and just take a snapshot. It'll direct you right to our website and give you the information for tours, et cetera. It also shows hours of operation for the cafe
Well,
upstairs.
just like a sign that's actually in the club
Yeah,
and a sign that's actually in the building door.
Not everybody
to
has
that
it.
club. Because people do this all the time. They go
Outside, so
Yeah.
you can see it outside.
even on that, there's two doors,
And-
there's two entries and the one.
This is the public
club,
door.
One.
Well, no, both doors are open to the public on the street side. That's what we're talking about, right? We have right inside those doors in that little
Yes.
yes, that's where we have the signs now.
And it directs people to go to a website to then sign up for a tour.
Or it
But-
sends them to the cafe, yes.
But you have to sign up for a tour to come in. That's not public hours.
It's not public access.
That's not public.
No, they're, here, I've just got a couple pictures. So that's what's existing today. So it says, come in mezzanine cafe and public hours. So there,
When does that get?
I never
get
been allowed.
these photos are from a few months ago.
Okay.
So
Start.
you're saying that the current programming within the Great Hall included art exhibits, dance performances, lecture series, film screenings, and musical performances, right?
Yeah, we're trying really hard. If you take a look at page. Yeah.
Okay, this, I'm sorry, this is not making it clear that the space is open to we need to be literal.
Check.
Open to the public.
Check the next sign on the other
Is
page.
it a restaurant, by the way? I didn't
And
understand.
so,
Cafe.
so let me ask, for somebody, we have a couple board members who actually still have flip
Book
phones.
your tour today.
So they're not scanning QR codes to come in the building.
They should be.
Let me see.
Yeah, it's not clear.
It
It says
says that
book your
not
tour
friendly.
today. We just want a sign that says open to the public, this is the door, hours are. That's all you need to put in there.
The door is, so the only concern I have, yes, we can definitely put open to the public and my only concern is outside is the bikeway. We don't want to be putting signage on the one, so that's why it's inside.
On the sidewalk. The bikes.
There is no sidewalk, yeah. there's-
The bikes, I'm saying,
In that area, the bikes are allowed right on the
Bikes are allowed
sidewalk
on the
because
sidewalk.
they don't have a bike lane.
That is a.
That's
It's a weird
really-
transition.
that's really-
Jurisdiction.
it's like,
You-
so you need to tell us about that.
Well, DOT is working on a redesign of that entire.
Okay.
Sidewalk.
Yeah, I remember
There were
they came
collisions
through.
where they were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why can't it be fixed somehow, not permanently affixed to the building? It doesn't have to, because it's a landmark,
Now you're
building, so
getting
you can't put.
Yes,
Yeah.
now you're getting the
Yeah,
landmark.
but the pop-up sign, the sign, instead of just saying Battery Maritime Building, they very clearly on the sign, you say public hours and the days the coffee shop is open.
Keep it
Like, if you walk into a museum or you walk into any other place, you could.
Bathrooms open to the public.
We'll update this.
People downstairs have to know that
They
there's.
let us in.
And if you arrive on a Monday and that is not one of the public days, then your staff has to be educated on the ground level to say, I'm sorry, public hours are Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, whatever it is. But it has to be clear. We do not ever get anyone who has said to us, I got public access into that building. It was really cool, unless they were attending an EDC event or one of the city's holiday parties. I mean, I've heard all kinds of things, but those who have tried to go use it publicly have been turned away consistently.
What we can do, we can update the signage certainly, and maybe what we do is some updated staff training. We say, if we're closed today, the next time we are open is X. The issue with putting, Alice, to answer your question, there is some issue with posting what days are open to the public and otherwise on the website that are in advance, because it limits our ability to book private events as well.
I was a little confused at first. You said it was open every day from 9 to 5, the cafe and the
Second floor.
mezzanine. You're saying that's not accurate.
No, that is accurate.
Okay, so that's what I'm referring to.
And
The other point, I understand, that's a little more nuanced, but just the people who are, want to get a cup of, like, I don't get, use the back, they're waiting to Brother Island Ferry, I mean, whatever it is, just,
And the-
no, it's a gorgeous building, people feeling it.
the Great Hall is supposed to be open 303 days, if I understand that correctly from what you told us. And if so, one assumes that it's not open when you're hosting a private event. That's,
That's
But-
correct, or it could be a day that is there where we're open to the public until 1 PM, for example.
and how would the public know? It's not on your website.
It's a valid point, and we'll have to, I think, through a combination of staff training and signage, we can address that as a
Yeah.
very legitimate concern.
It should be on your website as well, because that's what it says. It said, you said you were gonna do.
To the extent
And so it's-
possible.
they're supposed to let it to us.
Count.
The issue that we're gonna run up against is if we post it on the website and then such, and it requires setup or otherwise.
Okay, I gotta head off.
The-
If you're gonna why don't you just say, subject to be closed, check before you come?
That may be a very, we can.
Easy,
Yeah.
easy peasy.
I like
Fucking fine.
There is notifications, requirements that you have for the website, that you need to tell the public, you need to tell the community board, and you can close. And a website, I've got several people in this room who work for technology companies. I'm not that tech savvy. I can change text on a website. So to say that you're not booking a public event, a private event today for 3 days from now, God forbid, unless it's a funeral maybe, but you have the time to be able to get somebody to update it. It is one of the most,
We can certainly do that. My only point is we didn't want, people relying on it and then, your suggestion.
Can we close this out with just a confirmation from your end as to what you are going to do in the next 6 weeks or something?
Madam,
Get a confirmation of what needs to be.
Well, you tell us, I mean, I think what we agreed to, this week is, updated signage and some updated staff training.
And then the site will come.
and here's where I'm going. We're the website. Alice is being gentle and kind. All right, I'm a little bit beyond the gentle and kind point, as you probably know and EDC knows, because we've had this conversation. You've come and made promises. We are now 3 years down the road. So my excitement about being open and having an amazing public asset is waned. So what I would like to see, great, signage is wonderful, retraining is wonderful. 1, the proper reporting. 2, the posted hours on the website. Right? It's not rocket science to get the stuff done. You can, what are the days that the public has access to the great halls? Post those. What are the days that cafe is supposed to be open? Post those. Right? It has to be black and white. And I don't want to have the same conversation in 26. So my question to you is, when are you going to be able to promise the community board and EDC that you will fulfill all the terms that have been set forward from 22? And in your,
I think that we would take the position that we have complied with a lot of these things. You're rightfully pointing out some things that have fallen short, and we'll work to do that. But I think that by and large, the spirit of the agreement is we would make the space available to qualified organizations. We have done that. We would fit out and open a cafe. We have done that. We would build public restrooms. We've done that. There are a lot of things that I don't think we're getting.
Is it a public restroom if the public can't use it?
exactly.
Right.
There's no access, it really doesn't matter what you call it.
Right.
And
You don't
We don't know it's
That's right.
Get to it, it doesn't matter.
I I hear you. This is the first I'm hearing that, over the last year, anyone has been turned away. I'm sure that you have sent emails to whom, I don't know, probably the right people, maybe some other people. I haven't heard that. So I will talk with the team on the ground and find out more about this. But if that's happening, that's not acceptable. I agree with that.
I think also a good follow-up would be for you to let us know when these changes have happened. So the signage has been updated, the training staff, staff has been training. And then also that the website's been updated. And I think ideally that should be within a week or two, honestly. We've been waiting for all this for 3 years.
At least.
And Zach, we can send that to your email.
Staff should
Yeah.
know.
If I could say that on that website, it includes, it goes just month by month calendar. It points out which days are not open to the public or what the hours are day by day. Then you can put subject to change.
You know, I think we can add something on the website that, like, just like, click here for day of, are we open, what are our hours today? That might be the easiest way to solve that problem.
Can we have for the week at least? I mean,
So if you're a tourist and you want to come in 3 weeks' time, you won't be able to see that?
No, you
There's
will,
supposed to
but
be a
I think-
printed schedule.
I think it'll be subject to change and confirmation day of.
But like-
Or week of, we can see.
Like y'all said, you can write on there subject to change. I think people
Yeah.
understand.
But I think that we don't want to get into a situation where we're
Max?
promising people on the website that we're open and then.
No, it's fine.
But
If you
y'all
put
promised
subject
us.
to change. Right. You write subject to change by the check before your visit.
I think it would
That
be
it's their
helpful, yeah.
responsibility.
I think it would be helpful to say, okay, check 24 hours before your scheduled visit.
That's fine.
If you-
That's okay by us.
Okay.
People are.
You're saying-
There has to be
You already
something
have a
put.
calendar on your website. And there is a notification requirement that's more than 24 hours old. And posting at least the base minimum of the days that you're supposed to do is going to be much more public forward facing. You can always change it, remove it, and put a notation that says, we suggest to confirm. But I would hate to have the board members show up 10 days in a row or every couple days and be told, nope, sorry, oops, sorry, did you check the website? Oops, no. Or be able to say to the person downstairs, oh, I'm sorry, it says it's open, but it's not today. That really can't happen.
Yeah, okay. I hear you on that. We can try and come up with a better SOP to make sure that this is addressed.
Jeff?
Just a little clarification, when we're talking about website, what website are we talking about?
It's a Battery Maritime Building Code.
Okay, thank you.
Are we doing a resolution or not?
Well,
Why is it necessary?
we have sent a letter to EDC. We have had them come. We have been working on this for quite a long time.
Maybe we could send a letter tomorrow saying this is what we agreed on today.
Well, I think the
Let's
question
hope
for
it's
Max and
not
Craig
consistent.
is, can you give us a deadline that you'll get everything accomplished, like Alice asked? If somebody in the room asked for a week,
I think
Maybe.
everything that we have just talked about.
Yeah,
during the week.
a week is okay. Yeah, we'll have it, you and then we can get it. So by end of day next Monday, a week from today, this time.
And y'all know this means that all of us are about to come in there. and-
Right.
Yeah, right.
We'll all be coming down there.
Welcome.
That's exactly the point.
Putting the signage, addition of signage in the lobby of your.
We're gonna tell friends to go.
Not on a wall.
So when you say two spaces.
Well, I don't know, I guess I'm getting confused myself because I've entered the club,
Right, if you're
not as a member, and
off the street through the.
off the street, gone down your,
The
cul-de-sac where the
Portico
cars
area.
are, and then there's two glam-looking women generally behind there. And on the right is, I could see a sign saying very, beautifully typed, fancy sign saying for non-members.
Well,
Rest to the,
it's not technically correct because members of the public can come into the hotel and book a room.
Right, so we'll
we're
make
non-members,
that
it's just
adjustment.
visiting the ferry. I don't know, something to solve the problem we're having now.
I think training is gonna help with the doorman at that entrance, also
They couldn't
knowing,
get you out of there fast enough.
It's
unless you're
easy.
Going in with a
no,
member.
I understand.
And even finding the member once you're in, it's like unbelievable, isn't it? And then there's the door to the left of that, and facing the water, and that door, when you open it, I would just think, what sign there? I thought there was one, but there wasn't. And then to the right, you can go to the gallery that was once there, the small gallery. I assume that still exists or no? There's a little gallery area with pictures of the waterfront, and it was called the gallery when we were given a tour a few years ago. It's a small, nobody.
I put it this way. why
Small
don't we
area that let me just finish that. You don't know that's a small area that you called it a gallery at the time when we, not you, but whoever took give us the tour. It's very small. It's just this little area to the right is. Behind us there. It's small.
Off the lobby, the hotel lobby?
No, off, door to the left.
Door to the left, meaning the
The
street
main,
side door?
yes, the main space, when you go up, before you go up the stair, if you were to go to the right and around the back, I don't want to waste anyone's time.
Let's do
Let's
this.
just say signage.
Let's
where
do
you
this.
put it, Okay, in the
We're-
inside.
We'll get it together, a nice small working group from the committee tonight, who will go on a walkthrough once they have their signage up and everything else.
Fabulous.
So we can
Yeah.
try and partner at a
I
nicer,
just want to ask a question
Wait.
about, because I'm a Luddite. So what is the website and how do we just put in what do we put in?
you
to
can
get
just
to the
Google
website?
BatteryMaritimeBuilding.org.
But you can't find it in Google Maps. It's not on the Google Map listing for the web, for the
She's our tech
battery
genius.
Maritime building.
Sorry, you can't find it where?
So if you go to Google Maps and you look at the Battery Maritime building, there's no website listed.
We found it, but on what?
Yeah, I mean, you could type the website in.
What's the name that came up?
Well, but this is,
And you see-
if you're looking at a map and you're trying to see what's around you,
only
and you
concentrate.
look at Battery
No, but I
Maritime.
want to
building.
ask Derek, so when you,
There's no
when you
website.
go on there, do you see a tour or does it give you that information?
Calendar with four dates.
That's
What's
not
the
Google Maps.
mailing address?
No, their website.
I'm talking
The
about
actual
Google Maps.
mailing address.
Doesn't have a
And
website
South Street.
listed
And South Street.
for the building.
Betty, did you have? All right.
Okay.
Okay.
So again, thank you for coming. We will look to come sometime in March for a small tour, right? And make sure that you can see what we feel as a public. So we understand you're inside the private club, so you don't see the public.
Well, they don't let me in a private club. We will let you take us on a tour of the building. We would love to see your experience and we will listen to your feedback, your input. But I encourage everyone, go get a cup of coffee tomorrow.
We won't be there tomorrow. You'll be expecting us. No offense, Max, but
Take a day in
Crinkle.
April and come get a cup of coffee.
We
And
want to use that.
and that's fine too. And when we have an event on the loggia, we will let you know and we will invite you to enjoy the nice weather out there.
Is the Great Hall open tomorrow? There's no dates on the calendar for this week.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, we have an event tomorrow.
Okay, perfect. See, it's a good thing to.
How do organizations know that they can come use the space?
We
That's
some
easy.
robust outreach. We've reached out to a lot of different organizations. If you check, I don't know if you have a copy of it, but we'll send you a soft copy. There's a number of groups that we're in communication with now. Olivia's spearheading that, trying to get some, we're trying to do more,
Or
we're really trying to do events that are more community fun. I'll let her speak. She's much better at this and doing it, but we're trying to do more events that are really, for residents and citywide events.
Just really trying to create community engagement with
Francis.
multiple different organizations around the city. And allowing the community to experience the Battery Maritime building, as an event, or even just like having people come by. And I'm new in this position as a cultural coordinator, so I really do want to work with everyone and make sure that we accommodate what is asked of us.
What kinds of organizations?
Maybe we could have a full board meeting.
Their tech is very expensive, Mike.
That's the problem.
It's a beautiful event venue, one of the nicest in the city,
Yeah.
if I'm wearing my professional hat. But the AV is very expensive.
Oh, I
We
didn't know
can't-
we had a
We
pay.
can't.
But still, like, what organizations are you looking to partner with?
There, on the last page, I started reaching out to some, like, maybe just opening for yoga on like a Sunday and having
That'd be
people
fab.
in, or,
Oh, it's this.
having a,
Remember us seniors.
yeah, it'd be nice, just, trying to create more engagement with,
If you believe that.
educational, lectures.
Yes.
Having universities come in, doing job fairs, just really trying to expand that
I
outreach.
mean, I can barely read this. It's too small.
Kind of everything across the board, so trying to reach out as much as possible to, and honestly, anything that you think would be an opportunity for me to connect with, please, I'm fully open to.
Thank you.
Don't forget to leave your card. The gentleman from the public, please introduce yourself.
Jonathan Kirschenfeld, founder of the Institute for Public Architecture. Just to let everyone know that we're organizing Kenny Sanders and the RPA, Regional Plan Association, to have a 5-week exhibit this summer, July 7th, August 10th, the dates that are supposed to be extended hours. And we look forward to working with our cultural coordinator to make that happen. So that's going to be a wonderful show. If anyone saw it at Grand Central Station.
I did.
It's called The Constant Future. And we hope to have that ready to go and open to the public on July 7th.
Cool.
Perfect. Well, we will come and see you in March. I am looking at your calendar, so I know the days that the public schedule is open. So, but yeah, I'll put on my dark sunglasses and a hat and see if I can get in to use the bathroom at some point in the next month or two.
Please do, and if you have any issue or you just don't like the tone of voice of the person up front, email, email all of us. Yeah, because I'm fairly confident that is not going to be the case.
Just, so everything is ADA accessible, correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right, thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, Olivia. Welcome to Craig, Max, Gigi, thank you for coming. Again, when you do your annual reporting to the 3 organizations, please make sure that we do get an annual report.
We absolutely know what our regions.
Thank you.
We will make sure that this gets sent, we'll send it over and you can distribute it to this.
And do go find the gallery because you have it on your website. It's gallery. It's the 4th.
I'm sure that we're choosing different nomenclature.
Okay, but it's here, it's gallery. Just saying.
And then did want to know what's in the gallery.
And by the way, you have to reserve a public tour. They are ushered, not guided, which means
Somebody's with you.
security, right?
That's frankly a necessity, given the location and some of the experiences that we've had.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I thought you said you didn't get a lot of water hints in your,
No, we get a lot of, well, this has been some vagrancy and people that get hacked in the building. It's like, you can't just open this building up and people.
That's like that.
It's.
We want you.
And that's fine. Just people.
No, but we still want security. We've already gone through that.
But you don't need to reserve before you can walk up and swim the spot.
All right, we'll see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
By the way, we're sending my husband, not me, because I get recognized at the door.
Please do.
Picture me, no.
Please do. Thank you.
Thank you.
The ticket hoppers now.
Yeah, it's the 95.
The ticket hoppers at the bottom of 9A, when they see me coming, go. I'm like, I think they have my picture.
You gotta hide your hair in a hat. Yeah.
All right. Let's move along. I expect everybody on this board in the next 6 to 8 weeks
Go.
to go. And I know we can expect, every time I'm going on the ferry, I'm going to be through.
Exactly.
So we're gonna welcome Claire Newman and Sarah from the Trust for Governor's Island. They have that beautiful place that's right next to where the public restrooms are that you can get on the ferry to go out.
Do we have some of the restrooms?
No, I know.
You know.
Coffee.
Sign on the sidewalk.
Oh, they had sign on the
And it's
sidewalk,
right next to the.
The Joe Coffee.
You guys want to put a sign.
wherever you're comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But if you're showing it, we're
Yeah.
always looking in the wrong direction.
yeah. Thank you, board members, for piping up and helping me stay. Oh.
All right, well, we do have some slides. Thank you all for inviting us to come in today. It's always a pleasure to be here and share updates about Governor's Island. I heard the mandate about a tight agenda, so I'm gonna skip the upfront slides that are more preamble-y so that we can get to really, I think, what everyone wants to hear about, which is thank you so much. How is economic development going on the island and what are some RFPs that we want to know about? It sounds like a good summer. And you guys know this, I will not bore you. This is us.
Yeah.
I will spend 1 second on this, which is we're focused in these themes. You should see reverberate as we go through the other slides on 3 pillars to help advance our mission, which are about accessible open space and recreation. That's first and foremost. That's why most people come to the island today. Supporting and growing our burgeoning roots program, and then our climate solutions center. Again, I'll skip the history slide. I know you all are investment that's happened to date. I will share some new updates on capital projects that are forthcoming. And then here's our existing community of year-round tenants and partners, which obviously we hope to grow. We want this to be a year-round space in addition to being a fantastic summer destination. So what is happening in terms of real estate and economic development? We put together a slide that shares an overview of how real estate is going on Governor's Island. Of course, you all are familiar with it. The ice cream on the cone is the historic district. All of the shapes on that side are the existing buildings, the 99% of which are landmarked or part of the landmark district required to be adaptively used and historically preserved. And then the southern part of the island. The things in red, shapes in red, are things that we, the Trust for Governor's Island, use today. So for example, that's where our offices are. We use the Admiral's House for events. We recently did some work on building 309, which was the former deconsecrated chapel. We now have that available for events. They're essentially free for environmental organizations who want to do daytime events. And then we are going to try and recoup some of that investment by booking public events, cocktail parties, this type of thing. The blue space are things that are under lease HUD end today. So this is LMCC's headquarters, just to orient folks, the spa, the harbor school. The leases for the harbor school's expansion have been signed, so that's why they're in blue, even though they're not yet open. And then a couple of others. One of the buildings belongs to National Park Service. We are inches away from getting our temporary certificate of occupancy for Building 20, which is this building in Nolan Park. Those buildings have been leased, one to Brilliant Oyster Project, the other to the Gallatin School. And then Building 9, which is in Nolan Park, actually, Jonathan. What school is it, did you say? The Gallatin School. It's it's a part of NYU, but it's the one where you kind of get to choose your own pathway, and they're specifically doing their arts and aqua.
Yeah, they've been doing an artist residency during the summer months in Nolan Park, which is where we offer space to cultural organizations. So this will be an art-specific exhibition space. They have some instructors that will also attract artists and residents. And most of the art that's shown there deals with issues of climate change and the environment.
It's good. We're excited about it. In contract, really almost everything that's in green is for the Climate Center. I know that they just come in last week. That's what we're going to do. That's gorgeous. So you'll all know what that is. Building 301, I have a slide about. That's the other one that's in contract. Just a second. And then I know we talked about this at a board meeting a while back, but the New York Climate Exchange has option agreements. If they successfully do the stuff in green, they are allowed to expand. They would finish Liggett Hall and do this parcel, which is next to the one that they presented about this to. That's sort of the today known state of the universe. Oh, sorry.
Is the movie theater still there or it's torn down?
No, the movie theater is still there. It's this building. We're talking about what our strategy will be for that. We are thinking about putting out a request for expressions of interest.
I've always said you should do some
What
sort of.
could people be interested in doing?
I thought you should tie in with the Tribeca Film Festival and have film.
Well, we had a film at Lincoln Center interested for a while, but the building needs.
A lot of
We're not
repair.
gonna make up a number.
No.
Probably in the ballpark of $20 million. And then.
Yeah, but I think you get a lot of people.
Yeah.
I've said that for years.
So we were just talking about that. We don't have a current calendar for that, but we need to figure out a strategy for that building and also the YMCA. We have some money from the city right now to stabilize the YMCA. We just signed our contract with an architecture firm to help us with that. At least that will keep the building up and in good shape until we have a user for it.
No, stop the deterioration.
Yeah, exactly. So this is I won't go into detail on this either. Again, I know you guys are short on time, but a snapshot to that earlier slide about what are we doing in our 3 pillars, what's happening on climate in the island.
Obviously, the climate exchange is a big part of that, Billy Oyster Project, Earth Matter, Buttermilk Labs, which we'll talk more about. And then I know many of you were able to join us for some of our climate pilot events over the summer, where we're letting up and coming climate solutions on Governor's Island in a safe space where the permitting, frankly, is much faster. And so they can test and see, okay, does my water quality product work before they bring it to scale? Well, I'm happy to come back and take questions on any of this. We skip that.
It's the climate.
This is the climate center. Again, I know you guys are under Prezzo about this, so I can come back, any questions folks may have.
The changes.
Same thing, I know you guys just, again, Tammy, I can come back, you guys tell me what to do. Same thing you guys saw last week. And then a little detail about, then I have like 5 projects, which is highlighting, this is the Harbor School expansion. So, there's a little inset map here, but it's basically right across the street from their existing building. They're adaptively reusing one additional building for classrooms. And then this building is ground up new construction in the western development zone. This is gonna be their aquatic center. So they'll have a full-size competition swimming pool, which is what obviously they've been lobbying for many, many years.
Yes.
Thank you, SCA, for funding this very expensive project. Good for the city. A bunch of new science labs, the gym for basketball, volleyball, this type of thing. Everyone's really excited. I'm excited.
Do we know if the SCA was able to make the changes that they wanted because of how they had the diving stuff and the access and things?
I think they moved where the diving stuff is located.
Okay.
I don't think they were able to do that covered pathway between
Yeah.
the building. Okay. This is Buttermilk Labs. This is a few-year-old project at this point. We put out an RFP in 2021, sir.
Yeah.
It was in the pandemic and we were a little worried about it, but we said, let's go for it. This was the Army and Coast Guard's former elementary school. It's a beautiful building, double-loaded corridor, really great for sort of modern-day climate-oriented business space. We found a developer, North River Company, who've done some projects in Chelsea, Long Island City, and then in the Boston area. We're going to fully adaptively reuse the building. It's about 25,000 square feet, and they're meant to lease it only to companies that are working in the green and blue space. There will be a cafe component of the project that's in one of the wings, and it will be open to the public.
Claire, could I just add?
Oh, yeah.
One thing that the community might be interested in, this hasn't fully been announced, but this project did receive some funding through EDC's Greenlight Innovation Opportunity, and that is going to fund a workforce development program and workforce development training space within the building that Bed-Stuy Restoration Board will be running. So it's,
But that's good. There's going to be an announcement about that, so it's. This is building 140. This is the one when you come off the ferry from Manhattan, it's immediately to the left. The only things in that building today are our security offices. So we put out an RFP for this one, maybe about 18 months ago, looking for event space, repurposed restaurant space. We got a team to respond to this one. You can see the developers or the operators listed there, really, which includes Taco Vista. So they're, again, fully adaptive reuse of this building, resiliency measures. It's going to be all electric, which I'm excited about. So even all the kitchen stuff will be electric. We're going to upsize the transformer to accommodate that. And then there's going to be actually a bigger outdoor Taco Vista space. And this will be cafe, restaurant. It will at times be closed for private events. And Tammy, I know that at our last presentation, we had a bunch of questions about that. We sent the follow-up details about how often can they close for private events, et cetera. I don't think, it's not going to be the case that every time you show up there, they're like, sorry, it's closed.
Like Penn Sound.
Don't start.
But there's something there now, isn't there?
It's only, the building's there, but the only thing inside is our security office.
The other side of that is
That's Taco Vista. Yeah, so, yes, so that taco and margarita place is gonna stay. It'll be a little bigger. So actually, they're gonna, I don't know if you've ever noticed, but the grassy area actually extends further east of where they are, so that will be incorporated.
Oh, okay.
And so you'll still be able to go out there and have a taco and then drink. And
Right.
it's just like
But I just want to underscore too, like, it's an exciting story for us because that's a small business vendor that has been on the island for a long time. And they're behind the whole expansion project. So this is really our first indoor year-round dining establishment, which is something we desperately need. We had an ice sculpture competition on the island a couple weeks ago. It was freezing, there's nowhere to eat inside, so this is gonna be a game changer.
And the other restaurant that's just up the road a piece, a little, I mean.
Gitano. Gitano's closing. They will not be back.
They're opening at Pier 17.
So all that space there.
Yeah, so that'll just, so actually, that, I wanna have a little.
Oh, they get a better deal at Pier 17?
I think they,
Pier 17, that's expensive real estate.
I
I mean,
think-
cause that place is nice.
I think their audience likes to party a little later.
Oh, oh, thanks.
They don't want to party. Your neighbors.
Yeah, right?
It's the, so, I'm sorry. So this right here is where Taco Vista is gonna be. This is the triangle where Gitano was. While this Taco Vista site is under construction, Taco Vista will use the Gitano site, and then they'll move back. And this will just be restored to lawn space. That's the plan.
Is the glamping place still there?
They're still there. So great question. When the Harbor School project was announced, we reached out to them and we said, listen, there's going to be construction here on this site. We would love for you to stay. We're happy to extend your lease, but it's going to be loud. And they said, we'd like to give it a go. So they're going to give it a go under those very clear understanding. I was like, you can never call me and complain about it. Because I'm telling you, they're going to be in construction. So
When's construction started?
And how
That's SCA.
Like when should they go glamping before construction starts?
yeah, so it won't be, I think the pile driving will be a rough time
Oh,
for them
God.
because it starts at 7 a.m., but then it should be fine. The construction on the adaptive reuse has begun. The construction on the new building has not begun, but they are supposed to be putting up their fence in this month. Nolan Funny, I highlighted this one already, but I would just say one more thing about this, which is we hope to, as money becomes available, and we were fortunate to get some more money from the city and Jan Plan this year, basically roll around Nolan Park and continue to restore these buildings so that we can turn this into a permanent year-round arts campus. That's the goal. So basically what you see there in July, but year-round with these sister organizations that are part of the arts community.
How's the spa doing?
Great. They finished their phase two's open. They've started work on their third and final phase, which is that last smaller historic building further to the west. That one's gonna have an indoor pool.
Because it's only outdoor now.
That's right. There's 2 outdoor pools. That final building is gonna be an indoor pool, heated.
What about the Italian restaurant?
The Italian restaurant is open. It's for spa guests. So it's like you book your 4 hours and then you get to eat in your robe and your slippers.
Will there be public access to any
Alice is laughing,
pool,
but I know she wants that.
any pool anywhere on the island? I mean, it would be amazing
I
if
know.
we
The
could.
public
The
pool.
Harbor School.
The Harbor School.
The Harbor School.
But the
probably
old
has.
public pool is
But the
good.
Harbor School pool is not a public pool. It is
Well,
for
that's
the
Harbor
Harbor
School.
School.
Yeah.
They
They
have
have public hours, I mean, it's.
Not as far as I know yet.
What they've said to us is they would like, we would like them to use it the way some public high school.
Like
everything.
That was an example I was gonna
Yeah,
use. And they have said they're open to that. I wouldn't with a straight face guarantee that to everybody in this room right now, but that is the idea. And I think they want to. It's good for them to monetize the asset.
We would like that as well, because it provides a better experience for the public to go to the island and additional activity.
Or like we could have You know, sometimes board members or people will ask, why isn't there summer camp on Governor's Island? Well, it's awfully hard to have a summer camp without indoor space. And if we could do a summer camp at the aquatic facility.
Don't they run a summer program anyway?
They do summer school for multiple schools at the site, but I think you could make those things.
Was there a junkyard thing?
There's the junkyard playground,
Okay.
yes, that is our summer camp option, that's, I think you have to be 8. It's for 8 to 13-year-olds.
Okay,
My son did that, he liked it,
I vaguely remember.
but it's a specific thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Very specific. Okay, island oysters. So island oyster, this is the other side of the ferry.
The right side.
Yes.
When you come off.
When you come off the ferry immediately to the
Right.
right. Island oyster will be staying through this season, and then that's likely to be it. We're potentially gonna respond to this RFP. We just released an RFP for the site about 2 weeks ago, but we brought postcards. It is for food and beverage operators. We want it to be a place you can hang for a long period of time that is accessible to visitors to the island. Could it be beers and bratwursts? Could it be pizza and whatever? Could it be something similar to Island Oyster? All amazing options. Responses are due in May. Truly, if you all have suggestions, Sarah and I will reach out to those people. We're doing marketing right now. It is helpful for us to have more high quality responses. If you want to just tell us the name of a place you've been that you think is the right kind of vibe, we will reach out to them. So let us know.
Can you be near place?
Yes.
Have you connected with Department of Small Business Services, Food and Beverage Division? They have a big mailing list.
Yeah, we did reach out to them. We also reached out to Parks, who has a pretty long list of vendors that have done things like at Rockaway Beach, for instance, like that's sort of the vibe we're looking for.
That's a good suggestion. We have a commissioners luncheon Friday and I'll mention it to Dinah Shaw, who's the SBS commissioner.
Just seasonal for the summer?
Yeah, I mean, we would love, our goal is that it be open as much of the year as humanly possible. And we understand that for a private operator, they need to be economically successful. So I can't remember what we said was the minimum. I think with the minimum we said was our high season, which is essentially May through September. We would love if they'd also be open in April and November. There isn't indoor space associated with this. And then we require that they be open Wednesday through Sunday. They can do Monday and Tuesday, awesome.
So there is or is not indoor space?
Is not. Yeah, so there's an option in the RFP for them to buy the kitchen and bathroom equipment that Island Oyster is. But that's the extent of the indoor space.
And there's no commissary space on the island to support the business.
No, so I think everyone buy the kitchen, and it's a good deal. So I started to touch on this. What are our near-term priorities beyond what we just discussed? The top of that list is Nolan Park. Again, we have some money now from the city, which we're very grateful for. We engaged WX Bly Architecture to help us do a little master plan for the site. We're trying to think about it in 3 phases. Could we do 5 buildings, then 5 buildings, then 5 buildings? So we're working on that now. And once we have more to share about that, we can come back again. And, right, so future updates, Nolan Park. Or visitor amenities, yeah. Okay, capital projects are promised to be fast. Substation, Alice, you wanted to make sure we shared this with the community board. Here it is in all its glory. We are building
It's a unit.
in the eastern development zone, a new substation for the island. Why? We currently only have 2 megawatts of power available on the island. We are basically out of power. We cannot open the new harbor school or the climate center or Wood Park Arts Campus without more power. This substation is being built to accommodate up to 20, which should be like good enough forever. We would install the transformers necessary to support 12 today. It's a 2-story building. This faces one of the park roadways. There will be public restrooms on the ground floor. Yay.
Love that.
Yes. Public concession stand. The concession stand is not gonna be something with gas and cooking because it's a substation, but ice cream, you know, hot dogs, pretzels, light bites. Refrigerator, exactly. And then the upper level way out of the floodplain is where the equipment will be. The very top will be a green roof.
Accessible.
For. No, we can't let anyone, this building is.
Yeah.
It's good sun spot. Birds, it'll be for birds.
Any, is that the current design?
Yes, this is the current design, so it's a CMU block building, and then there's wooden fins in the exterior, the green roof on top.
Will it light at night or will it just look like a?
Good question. Our architects very care on that, we all care a lot about this. There is lighting on the building. I don't know what the up lighting situation is, but it won't be like a dark. But I'll come back about that. I don't know. I don't know what the up lighting components is. This front side that essentially faces the street where the park path will be after because of the concession and the restrooms. I don't really have a picture of it, which we really want to, but the front will also have, this doesn't show it, the front will also have a landscaped plaza with furniture outside. So this front side of the building is not gonna feel just like a dead box.
It will be warmer than it currently.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
in excess.
yes. The new ferry will arrive this spring. I know you all know all about this hybrid ferry, largest hybrid ferry in the harbor. Yay, we have a grant from the, yay. We have a grant from the federal government
Oh, you hope
to
you
do
get it.
the charging infrastructure. See, we are in design of that charging infrastructure now. And
Yeah, you are our greatest hope to change the harbor. So we're in.
Is the charging on the island or is it?
on the island side,
Yeah.
you need big batteries.
To be our guinea pig for.
I don't know.
Yeah.
The batteries will probably go right next to our offices, the offices of the trust, which is like right there. And then the the cables run underground to the ferry, to Swasson's dock. And then it has this little like injector robot arm that when the ferry comes in, it plugs in, charges it. It does, there's a term of art for it, which I'm forgetting, but it's like fast charge for the 10 minutes that it's there in the dock.
Oh, wow. Oh, okay.
And
it
then
comes
when the
back.
ferry's sailing, the batteries trickle charge from the grid so that they can rapid dump
Cool.
power into the boat while it's parked.
Sweet.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. So they're gonna put a big trench from the
Yes.
substation to the,
No, that's part of our substation. Yeah.
oh, okay.
But for the batteries, which are right here, it will be a trench, but it's only about 150-foot run.
Okay.
Two things, the Island Oyster Space, maybe, look into the folks over at Strong Rope Brewing,
Oh,
which have a big facility on the water in Red Hook.
I know yeah, that's a great suggestion.
And so, I think, that audience is already trained to
Yeah.
use and drinks.
Yeah.
And then the arts, the, is it Norman? Right now.
No.
Nolan. Is there any thought to figuring out a way to devote one of those buildings towards film development? Because there are like 5 new studios opening.
Great.
On the west side and.
Our only sort of, the things we care about in terms of use of Nolan Park is that it be arts, but we define arts. So it could be visual, it could be, we want to have a mix. So people who do sculpture, yay, painting, yay. Performing art, dance, music, video. And then that there be a component, whether it be the ground floor or doing stuff out on the lawn, that's public. So you put your art out on the lawn or you do a performance on the green. So I think that would fit very nicely.
I mean, just because you have all this new studio space, but independent film is hard to develop.
Yeah. No, that's a good idea. And as we get closer on that, we'll certainly come back because the leasing of those buildings is going to be a lot of work. Okay. Yankee Pier, we're in the process of rebuilding. You actually kind of saw what it will look like in the climate exchange renderings.
Mm-hmm.
And then, this lighting project is almost done. It should be done in May of this year, but we will have consistent lighting that works on the northern island, which I know Jonathan will appreciate.
Very much so.
And anyone who stays after 5 p.m., which is myself included. That was what we had for you today. I know that was a whirlwind, but we did want to be thorough on the economic development request, and thank you.
So with you, first I want to say thank you to Claire, because, you know, things come out in the media and you get alerted to things and you're like, oh, that's interesting. The community doesn't know anything about this, because unless you're going to the meetings, a greater understanding. So I immediately emailed Claire and Sarah, and I can't thank you enough for your partnership, because you immediately responded within a normal business. And said, yeah, we'd be happy to come and give an economic update of what's going on the island, because we all look and say, wow, we love our hammock groves and we love everything that's going there, and the changes sometimes are scary because nobody wants to see, when they're developed, the giant towers that are gonna be there.
Yeah.
So having a understanding to bring the public along at every point was what I requested, and this month has been a great month for updates. So we had the Climate Center come, and they've come today, and I, first and foremost, thank you.
No, we appreciate it, and I truly thank you, Sarah, of course, but Alice always keeps us. Sometimes we lose sight of what people know about and what people don't. Obviously, I can't control what a reporter writes, but that story was unfortunate, and we don't feel representative of what we're trying to achieve on the Island Oyster site, and so we appreciate the opportunity to talk with you all directly about it. And I think Alice and Tammy made the suggestion that we should be doing more regular updates, so I'm happy to come. Not every month. But our colleague Imani is going to come quarterly to the waterfront committee, and we'll make sure to have real estate updates in there as well.
Yeah, I want to ask a question.
Go
Thank
for it.
you. I also want to sing your praises. I have to smile that, you know, what are we going back 4 years when we began this process? You were hated, you know, that was a hated project, and now everyone's singing its glory. So I give you both a tremendous amount of credit for, in fact, very much bringing
Thank
it
you.
along. So anyway, I wanted to ask how you are involved with the EDC and their Finite Seaport Master Plans. They just came and gave an update on those plans to our committee, the Environmental Protection, earlier this week. And, you know, they say they're very much involved with you, in touch with you and all of that. You know, we look at these very terminal plans, and there's 2 berths for you and 4 for Staten Island and for that. I'm just very curious, do you feel that you're well integrated and you're on board with those plans as they stand today?
Yeah, EDC has been extraordinarily communicative and engaging with us on the planning process. And my colleague, who you know, Chris Tepper, well, you'll probably all remember from the rezoning as well, puts a point on that. He recently left the trust, so I'll be, at least for the moment, stepping in. We are happy to be in a shared facility with SI. Very mind that, great. It's nice to have, in some respect, shared resource, and maybe there's able to be more public amenities. We do have issues with the design, which we've shared with EDC, which we don't believe meet all of our needs. But I'm also optimistic that, like with any project, that's the process, and they say, here's this, and we say, that doesn't work, how about this? And so we're in that moment with them. But we were just, and I think that they would share that same thing. And so we've been very clear about them. We really need 3 slips, and we need more space for, we need more space for the humans.
Yes. Yeah, we were worried about the number of
Human, I don't think there's enough space, like, because if we've been to the island on a weekend in July, there's a lot of people.
Because it wasn't addressed specifically, and I figured that this.
So I think and then, so those 2 components, and then that third is, we need vehicular access. And I know that that isn't the sexy part of Governor's Island, and isn't the thing that any of us are excited about Governor's Island, but for us to be able to get an ambulance to the island, or for a restaurant to be able to get the ingredients they need to cook, like, there are still things that require vehicles, and it's not me driving onto the island. It's not randoms driving onto the island.
There's not an ambulance on the island in the summer.
There is, but they have to be able to get.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Is the access going to be on both ferries? Will the access come from both ferry spots?
Vehicular access.
Vehicular
ferries?
Well, in other words,
Brooklyn and New York.
yeah, so I suppose, and
No, the Brooklyn, the Yankee Pier can't accommodate vehicles, only Swassons, thank you, I understand, only Swassons can accommodate vehicles. And part of our long-term plan was always that once Yankee Pier is rebuilt and we're running ferries every 15 minutes, we hope most pedestrians will be able to get off at Yankee. And then you're right there at the park, you're right there at Nolan Park, you're right there at all the stuff you want to see. And vehicles will go to Swassons, because that's the only ferry stop on the island that can accommodate vehicles.
Right. I mean,
I mean, it's just, you know, that's reality.
I'm glad that you're saying what you're saying about the resiliency, because we have not heard that yet.
Yeah.
We actually were advocating for you to be more where the Staten Island Ferry was, just so it could connect to buses, and they were going to improve the driveway access over to that whole space.
Yeah.
So we thought that that would be a much better connection for you to be closer to mass transit for people to get in and out, people to queue. But yes, you're right, weekends and the amount of space you need and having the amount of boat space that you need is critical. So it's, and to make sure that you have the ability for electric boats to come in and that they're building for that.
The reality is that we need two slips and one for redundancy. So we don't need 3 slips operational all the time, but the slips go down a lot.
Yes.
So Swassons would do both, not just.
Yes, yeah, well, because any boat we run would never just be exclusively for vehicles.
I mean-
Like our new boat is for vehicles, yes, and humans. It can accommodate 1,000 people.
I'm sure you probably visited Vancouver Island. They do an amazing job at many different ways of getting people and cars and stuff.
You have, but I'll put it on my list, because Vancouver is the place I threatened to move sight unseen. This is a joke in my family.
I'd be with you. Go ahead. I guess it's not really a quick question, but it could be. Do you already have cargo bikes, et cetera? Because in our transportation committee, they were talking about the pedal assist.
We're very excited. So we actually have a pilot project right now with an cargo bike company.
The one that came.
Empire
Oh, okay,
Clean
so
Cities.
it's already,
Okay. Empire Clean Cities. We're hoping to expand that.
They presented to us.
Yeah, they're great.
Okay, so we would love to hear,
And they can go on any ferry. They can go on NYC ferry, they can go on the Gulf One,
Sweet.
they can go on
Could
the
that help
vehicle ferry.
bring ingredients over the way that
Yeah,
you need?
so right now they're doing, I think their first partnership is with Manhattan Beer Distributor, so.
Oh, that sounds so familiar.
It's the Taco Vista folks. They've been working with them. Little Eva is another longtime vendor. We did all of this climate week programming in the chapel, the new event space that we have. The trust hosted an event with UNESCO and Grow NYC, and all of the catering came on the bike.
Sweet.
So it's just a nice.
We'd love to hear
And
updates of how it goes.
yesterday it's lunch for 500 people every day. Our store. Right on the island, so it just is, you know.
Yeah, that makes sense.
How did the pilot go with the vendors that sell on the island with the diesel, the non-diesel fuel tanks that were gonna be replaced? Environmentally friendly, remember that?
Yeah, Alice, I will get back to you. I don't know the answer.
Curious what
I
we're
don't
on
know the
to.
answer.
Okay, good.
Anybody else around the table? Anybody else have questions online? Anybody has a problem? I did want to ask, what's the status with you have the chapel, the decommissioned chapel, which I've been in for an art exhibit.
Yes.
What's happening with the temple that's up there? Just curious.
The former temple is not in good shape.
Yeah.
If anyone wanted to take on a project of love, we would welcome them. It's not a contributing historic resource, and it has not been.
Yeah, they could.
Like some of the other buildings on the island, which it's been a long time since even, I think, pre-postcard leaving, that anything went into that building, and it's probably one of the worst, in one of the worst conditions.
And it's not historic?
It's not historic. I mean, you buy these legal definitions, but, you know, we could, lowercase h, of course.
Okay. Curious. Anybody else have any questions? Jason, anybody? Nope.
Burger King's done. Burger King's done. That was a Coast Guard school building.
No. All right,
Thank you all.
thank you very much for coming.
Good to see you.
All right, we're gonna let the outdoor dining guys go first. Let's get them out of the way. Just for an update for.
Madam Chair.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. French fries and. That's very, oh, my.
Where's this from?
385 Greenwich, we should go first.
You know?
Hey, let's get the package out.
Tammy?
All right, first of all. Right, guys, let's just order, please. We're gonna take the Town's Control Board new licenses after we do outdoor dining. I have no trouble sharing for everybody what the gentleman brought. Thank you very much. Know that it will not affect our voting. I need to say that out loud. For the cannabis applications, we got Novus, the 57 Beach was withdrawn and 85 Nassau was withdrawn, so we will not need to discuss that here. We will just do a negative,
Yes, I
pass
will.
back.
Yeah.
Right. So let's go to outdoor dining. Mark, is this about outdoor dining?
No, I just wanted to comment, 15 seconds, there's also a member from the public here on 57 Beach. If they hadn't withdrawn, this
Yes.
room would be filled with people.
Oh,
I'll
great.
mention it tomorrow, so he needs to leave, so
Why
we
don't
can
we
just
open it
say
up?
20 seconds, give him 20 seconds. I just wanted to get it on the record so everyone knows that they come rear their ugly head.
Not a problem. While you,
Okay,
sir,
Jeffrey.
please Jeffrey,
But,
please stand, introduce yourself and welcome.
okay, good. Okay, for the camera, okay.
Hamburger.
I was Mr. Kevin Long, I'm born and raised in New York City, I moved to Tribeca in 2004. I've been president of the Northmore condominium for the past 12 years. In the last couple of weeks, when we learned about the potential for a dispensary to go onto Beach Street, I haven't seen this much action from fellow condominiums and board since the Big Water project, whatever that was, 10 years ago, that everybody had an opinion about everything. This is even more so than when somebody wants to put up a club, in our residential neighborhood. So I wanted to thank CD1 for its role in evaluating whether things like this would make sense. We sent a letter to the board, as did other condominiums, that we felt that in a residential neighborhood within 500 feet of two preschools and within 500 feet of 3 licensed liquor operations, that the addition of a dispensary didn't make sense to us. Obviously, we're somewhat biased because kids and families, and we weren't really in favor of the dispensary, but we're pleased that probably through the obvious nature, I'm not representing the 6 other condominiums that I was aware of, that we were chatting with each other. But our residents were very happy to see that the application was withdrawn. My kids went to preschool at Tribeca Community School. I know the head of school personally. I think she was here the last time there was a dispensary proposed for Hudson Street. She was prepared to come tonight. I waved her off, and we found out that the application had been withdrawn. But the feeling is pretty strong in the neighborhood, and we certainly thank CD1 for it.
We appreciate
Thank
you
you.
coming. I will
Thanks,
tell you
Jeff.
that I highly recommend you reach out to the landlord and condo owner of the commercial space.
Absolutely. So
Because at the end of the day, if he provides them a lease,
We have a
and
problem.
he is outside of the distancing rules and everything else applies, the community will end up.
But I ran into the applicants, they told me they had a lease.
So they have to have a lease to be able to submit their application.
Right.
And so that's why I said it was a money grab, because they provide them a deposit, but they'll do this with several applications.
Yeah, it seems like the
That's why
same
we say
people.
reach out.
But I think as a neighborhood and as a
Yeah.
community board, to best support the landlord who's looking to rent his space,
Maybe we send them a.
maybe we can help him find a different type of operator for the space. And that's what I would say to the community. If you think there's something missing, work with the landlord. Let's try and fill the stores.
But in this particular case, there were a lot of people involved.
Yep.
It would have been filled tomorrow as well, so dodge a bullet.
Thank you for coming.
now.
I'm sorry I don't
Thank
make you
you.
French fries, but.
that's okay. I'm gonna stick around because I have to support our neighbors and thank you.
All righty. So 385 Greenwich.
Isn't he a French bird?
Let's go. Sorry.
Get to go earlier.
Second time in 2 weeks.
Yeah, right.
So it's a pleasure. I have the plans over there. Yeah, similar to the one last week next door at Smithfield. We took away we took down the roadway seating. So we're just looking to extend the sidewalk cafe piece. It wraps around the restaurant. It's 30 seats.
30 seats.
So questions again. You are not doing road bed any longer,
Correct. That's been, permanently removed from our plans.
and you will not be coming back to us with road bed, correct?
We don't like the road bed. We like the sidewalk cafe, so
Love
yes.
you.
Sorry, I need to catch up, because we're now going, looking at 385 Greenwich Street.
3.4.
Okay,
Then we'll go back
that's
to
the order, and the sidewalk cafe, up on the.
Can you get a picture though?
And right here.
Here.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I think I was given.
They don't look in fit, and we're not.
Here, where did we get that from?
Have you been?
You're asking for the Greenwich Street sign?
Do we not have that? Oh.
Greenwich and the north.
Was this what was existing before?
Yes.
So it's.
Like how many in total? 30?
30 seats, including both sides of Greenwich.
I got it. That thing.
Yeah. But as long as that's cheap, that's.
Is it the same or is it more than you have now?
Was it double roads before?
But yeah.
2 roads on both sides?
It was basically the same, it was the same numbers with basically the same alignment. Because we don't use the doors the same way, the entry and exit doors, we changed the alignment.
Well, as much as I'm enjoying the project, I will say that if, the north side, we mentioned this, I don't remember which application, these are coming at us fast and furiously. North Moore is a very heavily trafficked street, which is to your advantage going, of course, into the park. And so I'm just wondering if there's some reason not to be able to have less on that corner, like removing a table or chair on the corner, because that's a busy corner that's coming on to that. And I just wonder if that's, I don't recall it being so wide as it shows in the plan.
It's kind of a weird picture up there.
I would just advocate for one, can you go back to the plan? I don't have a plan.
To be honest,
Oh, here we go.
I understand your concern. The way that it's laid out on paper is the actual way it's laid out. That photograph is misleading and I don't know when it's from.
Yeah, I just,
Because
suggested.
You're not gonna have the walkway in between the
No,
rows.
that's
You're gonna
ridiculous,
tighten it.
yeah.
It's gonna be small.
The table and chair, that one table and chair that's at that corner as you come off the corner, that's what I'm trying to.
To be honest with you, this is a very seasonal location. In the winter time right now, we get crushed. We've been here for 20 years.
I don't have.
Beg with the board to leave us with the 30 seats because it's essential for the business's survival, but
How many do you have inside?
we have about 40 seats including the bar.
He cut it down.
Because we really are very busy in the summertime when it's pretty on this corner. Otherwise, this is a wind tunnel, traffic, excuse the.
So you're saying you wouldn't have this sorry, I'm gonna let people have their hands raised.
Are you gonna have umbrellas?
Wait, no, you got that.
We have those cafe on it.
Jared,
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say, I think this falls in the category that I said last week, this is not particularly controversial. This is very nice to see how active it is at night in the summer.
This is not gonna be there. This
Let's-
is whole photo.
Let's go.
Is it just something, push those table,
Well,
that
Mark,
table?
yeah.
Hold on, let me explain
Terrible
Val.
photograph up here, but I think it's
You go
bugging
back
you
to
out. It's
that.
bugging me out too, because it's way too close
This
to
is
the
all
curb.
this.
Well, I walk it almost every morning, so I know, and I'm just saying, I just don't understand why why that just can't all be right up against the building.
No, it will be. That's a bad. what I'm
Well, then
saying.
you're approving a plan that isn't accurate.
The plan is accurate.
This is what I'm saying, this table that's here, that you come off the sidewalk here is the only one. If that's accurate, I'm just saying, what would happen if we were to get rid of that or push it up, this one up against,
Push it up is the answer. And if you want me to
Push it
circle
closer
back.
to the building.
Alex, you're talking about that corner one, right?
Yeah.
for anyone who walks on that, it's also probably better for the.
Right there.
And so that we'll put in the resolution.
Mark.
That those tables are being.
So the person right
That one table.
So this one is going to be pushed up here.
Right, so if you take a look, sir,
Yes.
that last table that's closest to the corner
Yeah.
will be pulled into closer to the building.
Yes,
Yeah.
100%.
Perfect,
Okay.
yes,
We'll submit that plan to you, if not tomorrow.
perfect. Mark?
So you remember in the past, there was some issues with planters there
Yeah.
and things like that that weren't supposed to be there, which caused the sidewalk to be narrower and obstacles and whatnot. I think the photograph might have showed some of those things from, I don't know when that was taken.
The photograph is quite old because it
Yeah.
doesn't reflect the seating he's.
So there, and what about the pillar or the place for the hostess to stand, whatever, what is that thing called?
Yeah,
If you go back,
the podium.
the podium thing, yeah.
Again, that was in the wrong.
That won't be there anymore?
The good thing about that podium is it's on wheels, it's on casters, so that really should be adjacent to the front.
But that will be there?
Inside of the front entrance or outside of the front.
That will be there?
That would be tight to the building without the vessels there. I think
Is
this.
that on the plan?
It's not on the plan, so our assumption is that you don't have your podium outside at all. Our assumption is pursuant to the diagram that you're submitting, that the podium is inside and people will come inside to get their reservation or whatever and then be seated.
Can you come up and show us where you're gonna have the podium?
What we had found over time using it for 11 or 10 years or whatever, is that if you actually have the podium just adjacent to the entrance, you have this effect of you don't have to have the people come in to then go back out. So it kind of directs traffic quicker so that there's less traffic buildup over here.
So
The
where is
idea is the podium would be right here. And I'm sorry it's not on the plan.
And you know you're not allowed to queue outside though.
It's not, we don't want to queue outside, but having the podium inside creates the queue. If you have two hostesses here, hosts, you're able to freely move people about. That's my recommendation, but, obviously whatever
You
you
can
say.
put it on, you have to put it on the diagram. for
That's what I'll do. Yeah.
Our concern is, you're not gonna block your entrance, so is it gonna be as far out as the photos have shown it to be?
What happens is actually, like, right now, we use the secondary door as the main entrance.
Mm-hmm.
And in the summertime, we have the benefit of having both of those entrances. So it really is tight to the building is my point. You're not having all the traffic from inside having to use that exit. It's
So-
basically like two egresses. So my point being, that is why I'm telling you, I believe that it's very possible to put the host stand against the building.
And you'll move that pipe so the host
Yeah,
can go.
Those, to be honest with you, those broke within a week.
I saw
We
that.
got cheap, they fall over, the block isn't flat, and, we kind of, we play with the planters. We like the planters because this, there's not that much green. If you think about it, so we just put it out there, but we don't need.
No, if you go to that, Verde place, they got a rainforest in front of their house.
All right, so.
Them and Walker.
So just, let's wind up, so everybody got their questions asked? Betty?
What time did they decide the furnishing zone, just where all these poles and other things are? And why do they all belong to the clear path of 8 feet? Which is why you see they're 8 feet, once they put it next to, in this case, it's a signpost. It actually extends beyond the tables.
I'm not sure.
Go back to the show the plans, so then we can narrate from there.
The 8 feet goes.
Oh, scroll up a little bit.
Past the table. But
Just signpost.
Yes, the one to the right, you don't have enough clearance.
Right, because the furnishing zone, not the curb, is what defines the start of the clear path. I
So,
didn't mean to put the furnishing zone in the clear path, because that defeats the whole purpose of it being clear.
The permanent street furniture counts towards the 8 feet.
You can solve that by getting rid of that table.
so you either have to move your tables in closer
If that's what you like, I'll do that,
Or-
make them 4 tops or whatever. I'll make.
or do 4.
But we
You could
need,
do 4 tables there or move the last table can't be where you have it because you don't have 8 foot of clear path because.
are
of
you
the
talking
sign.
about?
That one there, please.
So I think what we'll do is just, we'll go like this, boom, boom.
Are you gonna?
I'll go right here with this table and we'll put this one.
No,
over
because you have to
Just
have path.
move that one.
Need to move this.
Search the gas valve,
I'll send you a plan with that one
the
moved.
gas valve is the same issue.
Where's the gas valve? Betty?
Look to the left.
Does that count? It's in the ground. It's in the ground. It's inside of the clutch.
It's on the sidewalk.
I think the gas valve is, I don't think it's 8 feet. I think the distance from a gas valve is less. Let me take a quick look.
So if it's flush with the sidewalk,
Well,
So we're being exploited because they want to come by and then like, basically when, because as Alice said, we all walk by there all the time, we're very happy in the neighborhood. But if we see this podium way out, I don't want to get flack when I'm like, hey, this podium's not supposed to be here. So that's why we're being specific.
No, I don't want you guys to be upset, so I think you should.
And then somebody yell at me and they're like, who are you, go away.
You know what? The gas valve's not on here. It's there.
I don't,
You mean on the sidewalk?
I don't, I'm looking at Google Earth and I see.
It's-
Wait. It's just, yeah, it's flat on the ground,
Yeah,
Betty.
they're always flush.
it's flush.
Yeah, it's flush.
It's flush. So if it's,
I mean,
if,
They need to get.
you roll over it. You can't put anything on top of it.
Right. yeah.
And that's.
But if you're walking, you could ankles.
Yeah,
Like to be.
Yep, I think you're, that one, unfortunately, Betty, there's absolutely nothing in here about the gas line, so
Flush, then you would be able to.
it's flush, so it's fine. Yeah, it's kind of like straight.
Okay, so.
No, this is the tables.
So it sounds like we're at a yes with, modification.
Right, there are 2 tables,
Two modifications.
3, 2
Three.
tables moving and the podium.
The podium.
And a mention of not the return of plants or barriers or anything like previously.
Well, because he has that clear path, he can't put it.
Yeah, but it did in the past, so that's why we meant to make honorable mention.
I don't mind having a little barrier with plants in it.
I don't want to discourage you.
In your space.
Do you think, hold on, my favorite French fry man, thank you. Could you please send us an updated plan by full board tomorrow, which is 5:00, 5:30?
I will endeavor to do that my best. I will say yes, I will say yes, but I don't have control over it.
Okay,
I
this
just want to make sure I know what you want me to do.
The summary,
Yeah, I really do have that.
General comment that the barriers that are used, they need a barrier, that's great. But the outer edge of the barrier, that is the functioning line of their space.
Right.
Not the inner barrier.
right. So when you see where you have the line that says 8 foot from the curb to the edge of your table, right, you see where that is over here?
Yeah,
Where, for example, you have the 17.
yeah, you're saying it would be within here.
It has to be there, right? It has to be on your side of the dotted line. It cannot be the public side of the dotted line.
So with the podium, can I put it here or you
Yep,
won't?
you
Okay.
can put the podium right there and you're gonna move that table in and that table either in or goes away.
Okay. Send that to you tomorrow. If I have to make it crude and hand drawn, I will.
Is that gonna be in front of, what was that, just
Wait, where? Thank you.
The table that you're pushing over?
No, that's an exhaust something or it's nothing. It's nothing. It's
a vent.
All right.
It's a vent. I
Hey,
can
if
send you
he
a
says he can
picture.
push it, then let him push it. He's the one that said.
So I think the question was called by Susan,
Yeah.
seconded, all in favor? Great.
Thank you.
That's everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Guys.
Any abstentions? Any recusal?
Mark, are you voting for it?
Yes, yes, believe it or not. Never thought for Steve.
History here.
No, with sidewalk.
Well, we go into the next second.
Okay. All right. Mark, let's stop.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Apologies.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thank you for the prize.
And modified.
Right, 241
I
West
live right around.
White Walker, DBA front shed, application sidewalk.
Sorry, we didn't bring fries, we,
Good evening, everyone. My name is Matt Borowick, from Helbron Levy, here today representing White Walker LLC, DBA Frenchette. I have Sarah and Reed from the Frenchette team here as well.
Thank you.
241 Walker. 241 West Broadway record, White Walker.
So is this, the same setup that you had before?
Not one.
Yeah.
Or you added?
Here.
I can share with
We have the photos of front shed.
You see the same on the left there, so it's
Yeah.
taken away.
The one for one and 11.
Yeah.
All right, hold on. Let's let the applicant present, please.
Yeah.
Introduce yourselves and welcome.
They just introduced themselves.
Sorry, I was
Sorry,
trying
happy
to
to
get
do it.
my, let's do it. Take it away.
My name is Matt Borowick, from Helbron Levy. I'm here today representing White Walker LLC, DBA Frenchette. I have Sarah and Reed here from the Frenchette team as well.
It's our first community board meetings we've got now.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
You just know next time bring fries.
You learned our lesson on that.
You say it's open to the public, do it.
That's the old Montrose space?
It's the old circular.
Oh, right.
Okay, so I just need to understand what we're talking. You're limited in front of, does your awning come out over your sidewalk seating?
Not
Not fully.
This table's right by the.
That's correct. Looking at your diagram.
Yeah.
On there, it would come out to that second row. We are currently looking both for a longer awning.
Which you'll have to go through landmarks for, correct? Oh, we'll see you again.
So the other ones are gonna have umbrellas or any kind of shade, or no?
Yes, umbrellas.
Did they have umbrellas before, like last year?
Yes.
Yeah, there. That's.
Okay.
So how many, what's the number?
2, 4.
Seats.
Seats.
That is 18 seats in total. Yes,
Really?
listed on there, one of the,
One of them is,
I see 14, unless, is that a bench for 6?
yes, the two,
Those-
like lines at the top. There's a bench that's built in the front of the restaurant.
right there.
And then the bottom black line would be two seats.
So it's,
You're gonna table on the side.
okay, so you got 10-foot clear path, thank you very much. You do have to have 10 foot from the bike rack,
Mhm.
and it's looking,
It's gonna smack into the
I'm
table.
confused, because it does look like you are not 10 feet in the deuces that you show from the bike rack to the, you've got 4 tables closest to the street, right, to the sidewalk path, and you've got the bike rack. I see where you've indented, but does the bike rack extend past?
It does not. The indentation was actually suggested by the DOT
Yes.
to push back in a little bit to allow us a little more space on the right hand side.
So I guess where I'm asking is the photo that you have here does not show any indentation at all?
Yeah, this was I believe it was taken last summer, these photos. So I think the changed quite a bit since then.
Okay.
Okay, I see.
Why do you have your 2 tables at the south end so far out? Why wouldn't you move everything in and up? Just seems like you have a lot of space that's empty. Oh, I guess it's for the service entrance.
Yeah, there is.
It's not-
The table spacing is just an approximation. This photo was kind of,
The food.
doctored by the DOT, themselves. We had to
Sorry,
replace it.
yeah, I get it now. Sorry I missed that. And, you're not applying for a road there for 5 and Doug Township?
We'll help you to it.
We're gonna put that on there, on your.
Does not intend.
It's not-
What?
The roadway wonder in the Pentagon is very nice.
I'm not accusing you, just like, want to know a fact.
You know,
It's simple here.
I mean, the interesting thing for us on an observation, when we're taking a look at where roadbed is and sidewalk. Sidewalk, our concerns are always for the accessibility and the pedestrians walking up and down.
And not being
Not just the ones dining, but everybody else.
Right.
And then the crazy thing that we sort of scratch our heads about is if you did roadbed dining straight through on the streets like it was during the pandemic, there's no place for the trucks to park. And then what happens is the trucks are double parked. And then on a narrow street, there's no place to go. And you have a bike lane that's right up against the sidewalk. So it starts to become an option where you will start to see people driving through and parking in the bike lane, which is exactly what we don't want.
Another thing we need to ask for is just generally, and I guess you always do this with licensing, but where are the garbage containers hiding out?
Inside the restaurant.
We bus everything back. Not everybody does that, but others, so, yeah.
No,
They're
yeah,
supposed-
most of them.
Yeah.
Most of them.
They're supposed to.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Does anybody have any other questions?
I'll call the question.
Awesome. Vote by affirmation, assuming everybody's a yes. Are there any no's?
Thompson,
Thompson, are there
Abstain.
abstentions? Thompson abstains.
Let me,
Are there any recusals?
You're another
Perfect. Motion passes. Thank you very much.
thank you.
Thanks for coming. Let's talk the neighborhood.
I got a smartphone.
yeah, it's a,
And that's why I'm like everything.
It's a rental.
that flip phone died,
Oh, so you gotta
so
look.
upset. This was my backup.
Yes, on every.
It's a pay as you go thing.
Can you share?
He's fine now.
Applications are open on the 28th.
It's sharing.
We're sharing.
33 Peckslip. There's a gentleman handing stuff out.
Hi.
Hi.
My name's Gary DeSouza. Good evening. I'm the general manager of 33 Hotel, known here as Seaport Hotel.
Yeah, I got my.
Sono Legit New York LLC is the owner.
It's still.
It's just a-
Do they?
Yeah,
They're the ones here.
Yeah, I was here with friends. I actually don't have this, I have some.
You have the exact same thing. You just don't have it in pretty colors. You have it in photo.
Yeah.
Really,
So
really long.
we're looking to replace, what was there last year with a structure that's removable, storable in the fall, and,
Something there now.
Well, wait, is this coming out?
Yeah.
this is out.
Okay.
This is,
There's something there now. though. This is.
This is roadbed. Are you applying for sidewalk?
no,
Never.
we had no intention of it.
Okay. Okay, so we are.
Because, we have those trees there, so it's kind of awkward. A couple of the pedestrians have remarked that at one time, the prior owner, infringed onto it. People couldn't walk through, so
That is true.
why should I push it?
We really appreciate that. Okay.
So I drew this, I'm sorry, it's not as nice as some of the other ones you saw. There's 16 tables. I just couldn't do them to scale. Or I own 16 tables. And 32 seats, which formerly fit in a 48-foot space, which covered the transformer vault before, it doesn't now. And I think I put everything far enough away from what I'm supposed to be far enough away from.
So I have a question, because how many tables themselves? You've got 2, 4, 6, 8 tables. Are you talking 8 times 4?
So I have 16 tables, which formerly fit on the 48-foot, so I'm probably gonna only be able to employ maybe 12 tables. It's just isn't the scale.
Yeah.
They're 24 by 30 tables, and then they have just
So in that space.
in the space. Yes,
This is smaller than last year.
it's smaller than last.
Just a little.
Yeah.
Not much. No, yeah.
But they scale, it's incorrect. How many little circles and how many little squares are there? How many tables and how many chairs?
Well, here's the thing
You
is,
see it.
I don't even have a company to construct this yet. because I don't have approval, so I can't rent or buy pieces, so.
But you're applying for the max, which is 40 feet by 8 feet.
That's right.
That is the max, which is 8 feet shorter than you had pre-pandemic.
Do you have to apply for a certain number of tables and chairs, don't you? It's not just the outline of space, it's the number.
Well, he also has to have a walkway.
So-
You gotta have a walkway.
Yeah, so.
So
there's
there are a
service.
couple of things that we need to see.
Okay.
Right. So we do need something, we'd like to see something that's more to scale.
Okay.
Because we would approve this, looking at it going, hey, that's great. Look, it's only, 8 tables, maxed at 32 for seating. That's lovely. But you're talking 12 tables. Are
Okay.
you talking 12 two tops or 12 four tops?
They're two tops.
So it's still 24.
No, but he's saying it's more.
But no,
24 people.
it's 24 people. If he's doing 12 deuces.
He only has 8 now.
And he only has 8 in there now.
So he's putting
So
over-
24
four
people.
more.
Well, like you said, that's not to scale.
Right. So here's the question, the things that we need to ensure, much like the conversations about sidewalk, seating. You cannot serve from the sidewalk. You have to be able to have some kind of a service aisle in there,
In it.
in the space.
Between the tables.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go in.
So like the table goes, like to
Oh,
the
right.
curb and then
Yeah,
against,
exactly.
say, whatever our
You
barrier
need,
is.
you need a center aisle for a waiter or for a service person to walk in.
Okay,
Cause you got the tree pits there, you've got, the issues, you're
Yes,
right up
yes, yes.
against, but you gotta have a way for them to get in.
yes.
You need to have accessibility to
you
ensure
may
that
only
somebody
have-
in a wheelchair can get in or out.
You may only have 10 instead of 12 tables.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, so you just need to be able to provide, and we will note that on there, you need to have an access way, you need to have accessibility.
And also the service.
Pardon, Betty?
At least one table.
Yeah,
Yeah. Show us just where they're gonna serve from,
Okay,
please.
so this is the front of the restaurant.
yeah.
So food comes out from here and disperses.
Right, and you have to have a pathway in.
Well,
You have to put a door.
I guess the pathway is or sidewalk.
No.
To go have an opening.
That's why I asked you the question. We wanna help.
Look at me, like you have to
You
move your
have
tables
to
apart
move
to have a
something.
pathway.
You can't serve from where those trees are. You can't serve from the curb there. You have to go inside.
And it has to
So
be
what you're saying
18
is where-
inches.
Where the tree has nothing here.
No,
No.
no. Where the tree is an ideal location for the table.
Right.
Because the waiter has to go on either side of the tree and be able to access into the outdoor space.
Okay.
So
Show
they
him.
cannot be,
Here.
they cannot be
Show him.
standing
And also you have to
here
have it.
serving this table. They need to be able to walk in and serve through
Correct.
here, or walk in if there's an aisleway here and serve inside.
Mhm.
They can't be standing on the sidewalk serving.
But then also you don't want your servers taking up the sidewalk, so they
Correct.
can't be coming out here and going here, here.
Right, thank you.
What else?
Why they're saying you need the center aisle here, so they come straight here and walk down.
And you need to have 18 inches for the center aisle,
Right, a minimum of 18 inches.
18 inches in the
in
center.
the center aisle.
So
between the
basically what you're
tables.
saying is I should remove this here and get the thrust path like that and move everything like that.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
And if you measure the table and you measure the 2 chairs,
Yeah.
you can just make squares to see, and then you can fill the
Yeah,
squares in.
it's hard to estimate how much we output, but it's not exactly the scale.
As long as you understand what we're saying,
Yes.
that they have to come in and serve. They can't serve
Understand.
from the street.
So I have a question about with that.
They don't come in in multiple ones.
That's correct, thank you.
That's
Yeah,
my-
they
that was my
can't come
question.
in.
The
That's why they say
regulations
come this
permit
way.
only one access
Right.
point.
Right.
Yeah.
The stairway.
And then across the room.
Right, and then across the middle aisle.
And go out that same way. They can't come in.
Can't
And then on this side, does it have to be clear over here also, on this side?
No,
No.
because they're coming,
Because
just
they
because they're
have
coming.
to come
They're
Only
not
coming in
From
one
this
way.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, I understand.
But you have to tell your staff that too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They can't reach and serve from the side.
There you go.
The table next to the tree sounds really nice. I wouldn't mind having that.
But she's.
Added back to what we get on the tables and chairs, according to the sex.
Yeah. Okay, very well. They're all-
And then I understand that the wood structure you had will be different,
That's gone.
but you're still gonna do the umbrellas and things like that.
Yeah.
Well, you have something up there now.
No, there's nothing there now.
They had to take it down November.
Really? Yeah, it's nothing there. It's our, well, I should mention it. I think it's on the paperwork. It's our loading zone.
But there's a,
That's.
even if it's just a box, there's something there now. Something there physical.
Oh, there's a loading zone stanchions so that when you pull up.
They have a hotel loading zone.
I know what they have, I look at.
Oh, that's right. It's
I look at it.
Right here.
I look at it.
So all this in here, there's nothing in the car here.
No, I know that, but there's something there, like.
It's in the
there.
it's in the last photo. You see it. You see those things?
No, it's not that, it's something else.
It's more of a barrier.
It's more,
a
it's,
rectangular
yeah,
sort of.
it's gray.
Is it car parking spot sized?
Those are.
I was looking, I didn't go downstairs, but I could see it from where I was.
That's for the hotel.
It's not those.
Okay, so that's a
But
hotel
whatever.
problem. How are you going to secure your umbrellas?
With those heavy post bottoms and the screws.
Oh, but then that's an issue. So the umbrellas are not in the table, the umbrellas are next to the table.
That's right.
So when you have your 18 inches, look, when you have your 18 inches from here to here,
Yes.
you've got to make sure that your umbrellas are not within that 18 inches.
Let me ask you something else, because I put a couple of things in. Does it have to be umbrellas or can I have a covered top?
You can, the DOT regulations are pretty clear as to what you can have. It has to have a weighted base.
Of the umbrellas, right?
And it has to be easily removable.
No, but you can't have a top. I thought
Yeah,
only
you
had
can have
the
like.
If it's easily removable.
Look at the DOT requirements.
I want to move forward my application.
Right, so you take a look at this photo.
The one that identified that you can, because we've been telling people they can't have a tank.
Oh.
You can have a top, but it's attached by poles.
Right.
It's a removable thing. It's not,
Right.
for example, what the gentleman at the bar wanted
It's
to
like
put
a
up,
shade.
which was
Yeah.
walls and TVs.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
All right, anybody else have any other questions for the hotel?
So does that have to be drawn in, if I have a shade? I mean, I can have-
No,
So in other words, it looks like curtains or
Yeah.
something that's on.
Yeah, that was.
What's going on? It's a blow away.
Seemed like-
Yeah.
so the question's been called
I'll second.
and seconded. Please send us an updated diagram by 5 o'clock tomorrow.
Okay.
All right, since you hand drew the first, I think we can get that pretty robustly from you.
Yeah.
All right, and please notify, send that updated drawing to DOT as well.
Okay.
And with that note, it's been called, it's been seconded. We're gonna go by a vote by affirmation. Are there any noes? Hearing none, are there any abstentions? Okay, and there are no recusals. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, no, so tell them what you're doing.
My pleasure.
What is the sound that we're hearing?
Okay, so hold on. The last one is 30 Leonard Square Diner.
So did we ask them to come back? Because we voted, I thought.
We did their road bed. They were
Oh, did-
supposed to come back for sidewalk.
Oh, they didn't take that one.
Hey, Jack.
This isn't the place that said we're good.
Good job. Thank you.
No, they didn't.
Oh, they're not gonna skip it.
Thank you.
But he didn't go, so that's interesting. So we're gonna deny him his sidewalk.
This
33.
one.
Oh, this is, they have a lot.
This look,
Not,
really good.
Are they here? Square. Goodness gracious, sorry, sir.
We can't see you.
Yeah, hold on.
Jason.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really.
All the squares.
Oh, do we ever, we saw?
Hello.
Hi, Gina, sorry.
Hi, how are you?
Good, Gina, who else is with you this evening? Is Ted with you? Or Emma? Gina,
Yeah, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear anything.
is Ted with you tonight?
Yeah, he's online.
And Emma, is she with you as well?
Who?
Emma? Emma? She may just. Okay.
I don't know any Emma. I don't know if it's with Ted, to be honest.
That's okay. We're good. Alrighty, well, we are back with Square Diner. Square Diner had come to us with a road bed, which we can pull up, when we're looking at, your sidewalk.
Oh, yes, I remember this.
Before we get started in your presentation, I want you to remember when you came for the road bed and address the concerns on queuing, how you're going to manage that on your sidewalk. Okay, you have a lot of pictures and a lot of seating on this sidewalk, so take it away.
Somebody tell me how many road beds there were. I think we have a resolution.
Yeah.
This sidewalk, and then there's a tree.
Okay, everybody be quiet, please, so we can hear her. Welcome, introduce yourself and let's get going.
Hi, I'm Gina from SWA Architecture, and we are the architects representing Square Diner. We presented our application for the roadway a few weeks ago, and now we're presenting the application for the sidewalk. If you see on the plan, on Barrack Street, we're only proposing one row of tables all along the restaurant, so you can have the required clearance for the pedestrian, which is 10 feet since it's a regional corridor. And on Leonard Street, we are proposing a few more tables and leaving the 8 feet clearance path because it's a neighborhood corridor and that's the required pedestrian path.
I'm not sure I understand. Will you explain the Leonard Street to me one more time?
Where are the drawings?
Leonard Street, that's a neighborhood corridor, and the required path in this sidewalk is 8 feet. So we are respecting that clearance, and the rest of the sidewalk, we're using it to put tables for the sidewalk.
8 feet to where?
8 feet from where to where? Can you explain that?
From the curb, from the end of the curb to the restaurant. We're leaving the 8 feet clearance. And from those 8 feet, we still have 4 feet to the facade of the building, and that's the space we're using to put the tables.
And the service area from the pedestrian space.
I mean.
No. You have some issues here because you don't have a service path. And the service path has to be on your side of the space, not on the sidewalk side. This is different than, these are the new rules going forward, so we just need everybody to play by the same rules. You understand what I mean?
Uh-huh.
They have to have 2 tops, not 4 tops.
So let's talk about what you've got and make some changes here. And if Ted wants to pipe up, he certainly can.
Okay, so on Leonard Street, we can take a row of tables to create the waiter ale. And on Barrack Street, we can create another type of layout where you have tables just outside the doors, so the waiter can come right after and serve to these tables.
I'm going to propose something here. I know, again, that corner very well, and I like the restaurant. I've gone for 100 years. You have an enormous amount of seating now. You have all along Barrack Street. You have all this roadway seating. I think it's lovely to have all this outdoor seating. I hope this works for the neighborhood in terms of parking. But I do think that as you turn the corner to Leonard, I don't recall there ever being seating there. And there is absolutely no reason for that. And that's a very residential, another one of those corners that's tough to navigate. And you're not clearing, you have a fire hydrant, street sign, you're not clearing the full 8 feet. And Tammy raised a good point. You're gonna have people that are gonna be waiting on that corner. You have, it's a residential community. I just don't see what the point is of these extra tables around that corner. You have plenty of outdoor seating. So I might recommend the consideration at a minimum to move away those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tables on the corner of West Broadway and Leonard, and I would probably advocate to get rid of them all, but certainly the 3 and the 2 that are not really fully clear.
So just to be clear, you want us to remove the 5 tables that are only on our street, right? Close to the corner?
Recommend removing.
Hold on a second. Here's a question. You've never had, Francis, hold on. You've never had tables on the photos that you submitted on Leonard Street before,
No.
right? You have a fire hydrant and there, and there's not enough clearance for you to have a service path and those tables to the fire hydrant. You're gonna have to use the sidewalk, which is not against, does not work for the rules that DOT laid out. Your service has to be inside your space, not on the sidewalk.
Yeah, that's why I said we can remove 1 row of tables to create the waiter ale.
No. No.
Yeah, no, they have to move these too.
I mean, here's a question. With the expanded roadway that you have and all the tables on West Broadway, on Barrick, why do you have to have tables on the residential street on Leonard?
Am I, who's answering that?
I'm Ted.
We just applied for the maximum allowable space. That's what we did.
That's your answer, they're not gonna give it to you. I mean,
Too
no,
much.
Too much.
Greedy.
It just doesn't work.
So,
Oh.
Ted,
Okay.
Ted, the issue that we're having here is you have no perimeter and you're using the sidewalk for service. So, and you don't have the space
Δεν θέλουν να μας
on-
δώσουν ούτε ένα τραπέζι στο sidewalk.
The service, right?
Yeah, but the
No, σε όλα τη μεριά.
point that you're saying about the waiter ale, we can take 1 row of tables and still have the waiter ale. That's not a problem. Like, we can remove 1 row of tables.
The way that's laid out, it's about the amount of seating, it's about a quarter condition where people have to line up into your restaurant. It doesn't make sense. And you have an immense amount of seating, you have to sort of allow some of the space to remain open. And that's part of the argument, not just we can or can't do it.
Don't be piggy.
So,
How many seats inside again?
That's
It's a small little,
got this huge road
they have a
bed.
huge road bed.
Right, I know.
So let me ask, how many seats do you have inside and how many seats are you proposing total outside?
Inside, we max out at 50, but we never seat that many because, we don't get 4 in every booth. But the C of O says 50. We've never sat that many inside in 25 years that I've been doing it. Outside, we just filed for the maximum amount of space. Compared to what we had before this program, there was a lot less seating.
12, 14, 16, 18.
Well, I mean,
18.
I don't understand our power here. I mean,
Well, the power,
It's one-
some of it is.
no, but if it's within the rules, can we say, well,
some of it is not.
no, but they
Even
volunteered.
with him taking out that space.
He wants to take out 1 row of seats.
Right, and if you took out those plus the ones on the corner, immediately.
He'd have to do 1 full row. So on the Leonard Street side, it would be
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
it would be 2, it would be 2.
Issue we cannot do.
There's
There's
gonna
no.
be 3 tables to take out.
It's.
Okay.
No, 3 plus the 2 on the corner. If he took out 3 plus the 2 on the corner.
He'd have to take out the 2, he'd be able to leave a 2 top on the corner, 2 tables next to that, and then 1 2 top and 1 2 top, because he has no service aisle at all.
But with those changes, he would.
Correct.
This is a residential street.
Well, so the 2 on the corner.
Can I share my screen to just to be clear?
Yes, go ahead.
Let me make sure.
Let me,
Try to-
we'll make
try
you a
to-
presenter, hold on.
Go
Go ahead.
Okay. So the plan would be to remove these 2. Remove
Okay.
this one, and this one, so we can create the waiter ale in here. And close
Yeah.
the cafe in here.
No,
Remove this one.
Still serving from the sidewalk.
right.
The door, you see the door? The side door.
It just needs to get 10 feet clearance. Yeah, so on that side, they have to have 8 feet clearance.
No, they have it. If they move the
They
table.
would have, they would have.
They have to be at 8 feet right.
And then they have a service aisle. If they
Right.
remove the two in the corner entirely,
Entirely,
right, and then 111, but
111,
One, 3
Which is
1.
what I.
yeah.
are you understand what we're saying? The two on the corner
Yeah.
that are over by that fire hydrant go away.
Bless you.
2 goes away and this 3 goes away, so we can have the waiter here.
Right, exactly. So it becomes two tops, right? And then a
1,
deuce
2,
and a deuce.
and
Should there
2.
be a barrier between the sidewalk and the dirt?
Yeah, well, you see behind. you see
And then
behind
you know that you need to do something to provide, is that, it looks like a barrier, but I didn't see a barrier in your photos. Are you using?
Yeah, no, but they will have to put one. Actually, in here it says provide perimeter demarcation, no higher than 2.6.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. So then, are you gonna use in the photo? It's black. Please?
Yeah.
In the, black. Is that what?
Of the building.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
It's got the windows in it and the door in it.
Hold on, no.
They're
All of the buildings.
dividers, metal dividers with feet on them.
No, this is from someone. But down there. That photo? Dina. this
Yes?
photo has- This photo has these black, what look like fences. Is that what?
I don't know, Ted, are you planning to use
Well,
this
those
one,
are the old dividers. I'm waiting to be told that I can use them. Otherwise, I'll just change them. We'll put in velvet ropes or whatever you guys
Looking
want.
at those things on the
road
top.
bed,
That's what
Tammy?
he's looking. That's what he.
So you need to find some kind of demarcation on the sidewalk, obviously. And we see it on your plan for the side of Leonard, but we don't see it on your plan necessarily for Barrick.
Because in Barrick, it says, perimeter demarcation with stanchion. If you go down, there it is. That's the note.
Okay.
Oh, you can see,
So-
that's what those little drawings are.
The one thing that, I mean, I can't say it enough and often enough, you cannot have people just queuing and standing around on the sidewalk. When we're talking about a clear path of 8 feet, the problem that we have with your roadbed on Barrick is you are using the sidewalk as the service aisle. You have to bring out your stanchions by 18 inches.
Yeah, because this is.
So when the person walks out of the restaurant, they're
need more
walking
space,
within your space next to the tables to serve. Do you understand what we mean?
Yep.
Oh, if they made them all 2 tops, it would work.
They are. They are two tops.
No. Well, in this.
Gina, do you understand what we're saying?
Yeah.
For 4 tops.
Because the diagram you currently have it for 10 foot of clear path. Does not include a service aisle within the rope and stanchion.
Only one person can talk at
Right.
a time for Gina to be able to hear.
So can you pull the rope and stanchion out by 18 inches and still comply with the legal?
Well, we actually put the stanchion and rope, but it doesn't mean that we're really gonna use that. It's just like to say that we're gonna use a perimeter demarcation. But the demarcation that Ted has outside the restaurants, the one that you were looking at, those can be placed right in front of the table and left the space to the chairs so people can access where the perimeter ends and it fits in there.
So Gina, you need to understand what I'm saying to you. Whatever it is, whether it's rope and stanchion, whether it's a portable plastic puppy gate, I don't care what you call it, but that thing has to be 18 inches away from the table, so the server, when they walk out of the restaurant, is not using the pedestrian path. They're using your space to serve your tables.
Ellie was silent.
All right? You,
Okay.
your diagram shows 10 feet from the tree bed, but you are not giving an 8 feet from the fire hydrant, but you're not giving yourself the proper clearance for a service.
Or the waiter. Okay, gotcha.
Right, so where the fire hydrant is, which, by the way, is,
On Leonard.
you know, we got rid of those tables because it's not compliant, right? Those are going away. But where your tree beds are,
You're taking
you have to have 8 feet from the tree bed to the edge.
Is it 8?
So your diagram says 10, no, it's 8.
Oh,
For a regional trip.
all right.
All right, so there's the room. Isn't that
Hold
the
on,
18
let me
inches?
Take a look, Regional Street.
Yeah, this is regional. This is West Broadway.
All right, so you need to have 10 feet, clear path, which means on your diagram, it is not accurate from the tree bed. You only have 8.5
How is that possible?
because you have to have a service aisle.
Get rid of those four.
Yeah.
Get rid of those four.
So those, the 3 tables that are across from the tree beds either have to go or they have to be much smaller.
So if if we decide to eliminate three tables from the bottom to the top, 1, 2, 3.
That's right.
And keep the one that is close to the door, but move it a little bit down so the waiter can access and don't block the door while he's serving. Is that okay with you?
No,
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 no, no,
no,
no.
no, no, no.
The tables have to be.
What'd you show?
Hold on. I'm gonna have Onesh try and explain for you, okay?
Gina,
Okay.
a demarcation line,
Mhm.
all right? The perimeter demarcation line. Right
Mhm.
now, it just includes the tables and the chairs.
Uh-huh.
It needs to come out at 18 inches because the service aisle needs to be included with the tables and chairs.
Yeah,
If we're
but
gonna bring that out, 18 inches, right? It's gonna reduce the clear path between the tree bed and the perimeter, the new perimeter, the demarcation line. So we need to move, that's why we need to move these 3 because there will not be enough clear path,
Three tables.
the 3 tables
Okay.
here. You'll have to remove these because there won't be enough clearance here. It's
Okay.
gonna be less than
And 2 of them at the top.
the top as well here, yeah. You're gonna need to remove.
6.
the ones that are in front of the tree beds. So you
Yes.
yeah, okay,
You need to
yeah, got it.
measure to see, yeah,
The
to
table
see
down.
how far it goes.
And then I have to ask, because I am unclear from your diagram, the photos that you sent us for seating were all 4 tops,
Right,
right?
These are 2 tops.
except for the
All
couple.
4 tops, hold on the sidewalk seating on Varick, correct?
Uh-huh.
Not all, there's a couple too.
No, in the photographs. Oh,
In the photographs.
So that was from
So,
before.
on the
Uh-huh, that was
diagram,
from
understood, but on the diagram, are these all 2 tops or are they supposed to be 4 tops?
No, these are 2 tops. You can see the chairs on each end of the table. It's just 2 tops.
Okay, so the problem that you have then is you are not compliant on the regional corridor for a 10-foot clear path with the service aisle. And that's gonna be the problem for 3 tables by each tree pit.
I think only
Yeah.
2 at the top.
Yeah, that's why we said we were going to
2.
remove them.
No, it's 3 and 2.
It depends, so we're gonna have to measure.
No, it's 3 and 3. 3 on both ends.
It's 2 or 3 on the bottom and,
3 on the top.
Gina,
yeah.
Yeah,
you have to measure from each to the tree pits. So for example, if you're looking at my cursor right here, if from the new demarcation line here to wherever is the closest part to the tree bed, if that happens to be 10 feet in this direction, then it should be fine. If it's less than 10 feet, then this one has to go. The same goes for this one here.
yeah, understood.
Alright.
So we would only approve this with modifications.
Okay.
As long as the applicant agrees to the modifications. So I need to hear from Ted that he is going to agree to the modifications.
Yeah, sure, whatever you guys want.
Okay, so let's go through all the modifications, because then we can do a community board approval recommends with modifications. All right, and we will check off that the applicant acknowledged and agreed to the modifications related. And we're gonna start this way. On Barrick, the tables across from the tree bed will be removed on both areas for both tree beds to allow for a 10-foot clear path. And any tables that are in between, before or after the tree bed will have rope and stanchions 18 inches pulled out to allow for a service path.
Okay.
Correct? Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
On Leonard Street, the first two tables near the main entrance are going away because they're not compliant to where the fire hydrant is. And then you're gonna remove one each of the other remaining to allow for a service path. So you'll be a 2, a 1, and a 1 for tables.
I just have one question. I mean, I agree, it's okay, but why are you saying those are not compliant? You only need 8 feet for the fire hydrant.
You don't have a service path.
So then, just a suggestion, if you remove one table from those at the end, you will have the waiter area.
Yes. Yeah, that's true. That's what we're doing. So instead, you're telling me that you don't want to lose both tables by the main entrance? You only.
I mean,
wanna
I'm not
use
saying
that
we're gonna
one.
use all of these tables. I'm just trying to see like if it's possible to keep that, but I'm not saying they're gonna keep all the tables. Probably they're gonna put
I mean,
less.
It's super tight to the front door. You've got it right up against the front door.
No, we don't see this, I really wish that there was a way that we see the amount of seating that's in that roadbed with it.
Let's see, that's irrelevant to our.
It's not irrelevant.
not.
To the use the public space.
Right, yeah.
I don't agree.
So the question is,
I don't understand that. Explain to me how that's relevant.
How is it relevant?
If you have the clear path on the sidewalk, can we deny it?
Seating that
But
they're
that's not
asking for.
that's not illegal.
It's a legal question, it's a public space issue.
It's a quality of life issue that we've
Right,
dealt
but-
with Stockman County for the last 30 years.
all right, stop.
Yeah, guys, it was just a question. I was wondering just
Reality
why.
and quality of life.
Stop,
Do not
Mark, please. Gina, one of
Yeah.
the reasons that we want both of those tables struck by the front door is you don't have a queuing area. There have been complaints that people were just waiting to be seated, gathering on the sidewalk. And
Okay.
Ted was thrilled that he's so popular, and he's like, well, I can't control the sidewalk. But you have to control your waiting area. So by striking those two tables, you're at least giving a place
Mhm.
for somebody
For
to
the-
wait to be seated.
Got it.
Yeah, all right. So
now we're gonna do Leonard.
you see what everybody sees what Oneja's
We
drip.
did that.
That's great.
It's beautiful.
Okay. Ted, Gina, we're good with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, now we go
Okay,
back to
now,
Barrett.
We already did that.
You just, you have to mark up there.
Mark it up, so I can see it.
Yeah, the demarcation line has to come out.
Just told us that they wouldn't have any seats more than 70 out there.
And then they have to get rid of,
A couple of tree beds, where the tree beds are, that one.
right?
Because they gave us
So
choice.
that has to go.
Craziest thing I've
So
ever
then
done.
you have to cross those tables out.
This one, possibly this one.
That one might work if they move it, that's a question mark,
This one.
and the other ones will be fine. Okay,
Okay.
all right,
Yeah, but yellow's not.
which actually, I hate to say, from our perspective, that might not be bad either, because then people can be waiting up against the building line, if there's no tables there, at least getting them off the sidewalk.
Okay. Got it.
right? Stroller parking, whatever. All right. Everybody good?
Call the question.
Thank you. All righty. So that is it. Everybody in favor with the changes that were made?
Yes.
Yeah. Are there any abstentions? Are there any no's? Maruso is a no. Thompson is a no. Are there any recusals?
Leonard Street.
There are no. Okay.
Otherwise, everybody.
Meltzer's gonna abstain on this one.
No.
When do we need to send the changes?
By 5 o'clock tomorrow.
If you want, yeah.
Okay.
It's attached.
And motion passes. We have 2 abstentions and 2 no's, but yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4.
What a difference.
You don't have. 1, 2,
I think we're done.
I think we're.
3,
we want
4.
more thing. All right, I
5,
think motion passes. So thank you very, very much.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. You done?
All right,
No,
no,
that's
so
fair.
here's the last thing, before committee reports. It's been a little confusing with OCM. OCM, yeah, right, go figure. OCM, Cannabis has put out another set of revised, rules. I'm not really sure how but this is a redo of the public comments. The problem with this one is it's taking from 1,000-foot rule to a 500-foot rule for cannabis stores. Because the complaint that they're getting.
Apart from each other, from a school or a church or from.
From each other. And others. The part of the problem starts to become is they're claiming that 1,000-foot is too far and they need more saturation. So they're having trouble. So where everything that was, everything that is changing. So 1,000-foot from each other business will now be 500. Yes.
You can double the amount of cannabis.
Yeah.
They make this change in their own?
No, this is,
Well, the legislature has to do it.
no, they are making rule changing.
But doesn't the legislature have to approve the rule?
No.
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 Go for it. I did not see your thing today. I'm back from vacation like 24 hours.
So, yes and no. So it's, there's good and there's bad.
Okay.
It's definitely a mixed bag. When I first looked at it, I too thought that it was really bad. And the answer is it's kind of bad.
Okay. Now, yeah, go ahead, tell us. Tell us better.
So, so in the fall, they came and, they put, the Secretary of State put forth a proposal to modify the regulations that would allow closer distancing between dispensaries. And so they are doing that, except it's not in every instance. It is basically changing the public convenience component. So basically, what does this mean in a practical sense? It means that it's, in many ways, the rule is still 1,000 feet unless a waiver is requested. And if a waiver is requested and granted, the absolute floor that it sets is 500 feet. However, it also sets a process for the community board and other license holders, nearby license holders rather, to weigh in before a waiver is granted. And importantly,
Can I share it?
importantly, it prohibits the Cannabis Control Board from taking any action on it until the community board is weighed in or the time has expired. So it also puts in certain guardrails in place before a waiver can be requested. But that any existing shops in the area be given a 9-month head start in operation and an opportunity to oppose the waiver of actually testifying in person at the control.
Okay, wait, so if you already have a shop in existence and your buddy decides he wants to be 500 feet away from you and you don't like that idea, you can go and say, I don't like that idea?
Yes.
Yeah. That doesn't make any
Do
sense.
they have to show up in person?
No, no, if I have a business and I just don't want you to be in business, I can go say, I don't want you to be in business.
Well, except everybody entered into this business thinking that they had 1,000-foot proximity protection. And so, well, but so the goalpost is being moved a little bit. So it's understandable that they have an opportunity to weigh in. But again, applying for the 1,000-foot waiver, the previous modification outlined the criteria that could be considered. And so there are a whole bunch of different things. For example, let's say that you had one dispensary on one side of the Hudson Rail Yards and another on the other side. And let's say that's less than 1,000 feet. Somebody could go to the OCN and say, yes, it's less than 1,000 feet, but there's this rail yard in between us. Has no practical bearing on our distance. We're not really competing.
Yeah, that makes some sort of sense, but, if I'm walking down Fulton Street and I have a store already, and somebody wants to put a store 500 feet away, of course I'm gonna say I don't want it there.
Yeah.
So I don't understand why that weighs more.
It's not that it weighs more, it's that.
Why are you arguing against it? Because what we're trying to prevent is us having oversaturation of cannabis stores.
They're probably gonna lose every time, because they're just gonna say, I don't want it there. So they just want it to
Well,
stay 1,000 feet.
They have to,
No, what I'm saying is.
so they have to pay attention. and
What
go
I'm
for-
saying, who will lose is the person who just says arbitrarily, I don't want it there.
Why would they lose?
They win.
They win, Pat.
No. I wouldn't, if you came to me and arbitrarily just said, I don't want it there, because I don't want it there, because I already
But
have a
again-
store, I say, I'm sorry, they can go there.
There are.
Yeah, but you're not the one who's making.
There's criteria.
This is what's confusing about it. The previous modifications, which happened in the fall or something like that, where they requested comments, that was specifically on the criteria that could be considered for public convenience for, I can't remember the word. It's also at the moment. Basically extenuating circumstances that would allow a waiver to be granted. Now they've said, they put, sort of what the process would look like and put certain guardrails in place in the process.
All right,
which is
my
not-
feeling is it's a useless clause, because unless you have a really valid reason for not wanting it there.
You actually have to have a valid reason for getting a waiver, wanting.
Yes, you have to have a valid reason for
But-
not wanting them.
But
500
that
feet.
makes the decision. My issue with their valid reasons were, you could conceptually say, I'll use 9A as an example. You could conceptually say, I want to open on one side of 9A, there's a little retail space right by Whole Foods. I'm going to open up there. And then somebody else could open up on the other side of 9A because 9A is a major impediment and a highway, therefore not considered, and waive the 1,000-foot rule.
That just bothers me as much.
I'm only kind of reading this as we go here, but it looks to me like if you want to open up something within, between 500 and 1,000 feet. If there is already and the existing business there has been operating for at least 9 months, then it doesn't look like it's him objecting or not. It's the applicant, the new applicant, has to justify a waiver in that circumstance by showing that he will promote competition or whatever. What is
It's a separate document that talks about the criteria that we can consider.
that but for the distance issue, he would enhance competition in some way. And I don't know what that criteria is. I mean, maybe there's another document that sets that criteria.
So my takeaway is that this is generally good because what we had before was they kind of just had this rule and there was no criteria behind it. And now it essentially gives us a little bit more power to say yay or nay in support or not in support of it.
Well, so what
Because your bullets even have more good than bad in your.
I think we are good
Well,
better now.
Well, I mean, it'd be better, yes, you're right. It'd be better with 1,000-foot, except there's always been a public convenience carve out.
But how many of them have been granted?
They haven't.
none, because there's no rules in place yet, so
Right.
you have them.
We were better with the
Right.
1,000-foot rule.
Yes.
But they were getting rid of that rule already, right?
No, they hadn't created it yet. The problem is they couldn't offer a 1,000-foot waiver because they hadn't put the guidelines, rules and regs in for such a waiver. So now they're trying to do the waiver
So you
without,
both at the same time.
without doing the 1,000-foot rule. My basic thing is, even though the legislature passed it at 1,000-foot, they're looking to change the rules because they're getting pressure from the real estate community and the cannabis community that 1,000 is too much.
Well, the cannabis community, from what I read, does not. Because there have been people who are trying to get these fledgling shops up and running.
No.
So it might be the cannabis that doesn't want it, but the real estate,
Well, and the state certainly,
they want to rent out.
The real estate, they want to rent out.
the state certainly wants it. But-
So what do we do?
So the one thing that I think we should have in a resolution, no matter what, is, so the community board has a 45-day period to opine, and as we mentioned,
Of March 7th.
sorry. No, I'm saying. on any
When they
waiver
request, yeah.
When there's a waiver request that comes from the community board has 45 days to opine, and the cannabis control board cannot take any action until the board.
So it comes to us first?
Yes.
It does. We get a notification, and the area shops also get a notification. The area shops are invited to testify in person at the community board, at the cannabis control board meeting.
So let me ask you another question. So I'm here, and there's 1,000 feet between us.
Yeah.
Now you're saying I could have somebody in the middle?
Yep.
Yep.
In the middle. But this does set a floor, because previously when they're talking about 1,000-foot waiver, there was no number being discussed. So on the plus side, at least 500 people, what I was saying was the competing shops are given an opportunity to testify at the community, at the cannabis control board meeting. We are not. We should absolutely be putting that in our resolution, that the community boards should have the opportunity to testify in person. And the reason this is important is because the way the cannabis control board meetings work now is that the only opportunity for any public comment is at the end of the meeting after all business has been done.
After they've already made their rulings.
Totally stupid. And so if the neighboring businesses, if the neighboring cannabis businesses have an opportunity to testify at these meetings, the community board should have that same opportunity. So that's one thing I think we should put in.
Yeah.
I think we should put in there, our preference still remains to be 1,000
1,000 feet, absolutely.
But this is not, first time I read this, I'm like, this is a disaster. Second time I read this, I thought this was a disaster.
I still think it's a disaster, but okay.
It's a mixed bag.
Because they're not specifying exactly what the business has to say to be able to.
They are. They did already in the fall, and I can pull that up if we'd like. Give me a second, unless as you have it. New York, it was here.
It's just the way it's done.
It's
The like,
I thought we had like modern lights now. Selling and we made it get loose. What are we getting at?
We don't, we get.
Strategic joints.
Oh, okay.
Joints.
Yeah, he joins.
No cheap ones. I haven't heard that in a long time.
That would, you know, for my purposes, I think that we should say no to most of this. But that's my own personal opinion on this. I don't think that I think that it's too easy just to say no, so I think we should put in, like, no unless, we don't approve these unless, and in the unlesses, we add in all the other things that we want. Betty?
So actually, I'm gonna speak it forward, a floor proposal to run to 1,000 feet. It doesn't really bother me, I don't use it, so it's not a big deal to me.
Is it
But I have been liquor stores because I don't drink alcohol either.
we don't smell alcohol.
Anyway, they don't necessarily, I'm looking at the shop.
Well, they do.
Mark? You might not speak, and you're.
Let her go, please.
Go on.
Thank you, Betty.
I think because competition is still competition. If there's a bad actor, why am I protecting that particular shop so much? Would we do that for any other business? So wanting to know some of the financial aspect of it. I want to know if they're good actors or not. Those that are existing, or those that are coming in, are they filling some kind of void, such as the other ones that happen to be there, are only selling very high levels?
But we don't,
PhD, but these others don't. I mean, it could be reasons that they're filling a void that the other shops that exist don't.
But then that should be one of the,
Well,
one of the reasons.
Well,
why.
but
that- see, that's- but this is where kind of we're going, you know, one of the problems is they haven't established the market enough to actually know where the voids are and to know what the problems are. The market is not saturated yet. And there is, I mean, you can't tell me that you can't find a storefront when we have the largest amount of commercial real estate available in all of Manhattan. So for our purposes, it's not a problem for finding space. Whether or not they can afford it is not my, you know, I can't help them. There's programs for that. But the thing is, I think that it is premature to be jumping the gun to cut it in half, especially when they do not recognize schools that are co-located. And under Bloomberg's tax incentive plans, if you build a high building and you're willing to put a school in it, then you get a tax break and you get more zoning and other benefits that come along with it. That has been a boon. We have had many things built and lots of preschools and other things in Bottoms. However, that does not qualify as a school under cannabis law.
Excuse me, but you know what, my friends who smoked, it wasn't because it was close to the school. That wasn't
It's
so
not
they wanted to buy it, that they started buying it. Had nothing whatsoever to do.
I understand that, but we don't have protections in place for the schools like we do.
Our school didn't need protection because I wasn't looking for them, but it didn't stop anybody from smoking.
True, but you know what? You're talking about an industry that's got bubblegum flavored vape pens and other things that are marketed specifically towards children.
And they'll deliver it to your house too.
But not in the legal system.
The legal ones, ideally. All right.
This doesn't affect, I mean, the school thing, I think, is offensive.
Here's, Onesh put up the one we passed last fall.
Maybe scroll,
That's
that's it. So this is the fourth.
Still stuck on the other way.
Okay, so,
I'm stuck on the 500 with the school thing.
these are some of the criteria. I think this is the right draft. If it's not exactly right, these are essentially the criteria that they are considering. Things like geographic, structural, topographic barriers, waterways,
Waterways.
highways,
Significant travel distance.
distance between
Get between.
location, when, keep in mind this applies to the whole state, right? So.
Yeah.
Existing, travel distance between on foot and in car between existing retail dispensaries. Any factors that are unique to the proposed, location. And then if you go down a little bit, it's things like the economic justification. C is something that we came out against pretty aggressively, which was, incorporating any other factors.
Any other factors. The sky is blue.
Well, I think we should keep the 1,000.
I don't know that we have any.
Anyway. I mean.
Steve's
Go ahead, Mark.
So,
Go ahead.
excuse me if I'm biased against having to breathe in marijuana smoke, but I think in the resolution, we should include about, reiterate, I know we've done it before about the schools. What Jared said about, participation in speaking at the meeting. And also add that the public should be able to speak prior to any decisions being made and voted on as well.
Okay, so,
Those three things, at least those three. And I'm sure people have some more.
one, public comment,
When you're saying.
beginning meeting.
Yeah, the public should be able to speak, we should be able to speak, and,
Before the other vendors.
well, we don't have to be first, but before any decisions are.
Before applications are considered.
Yeah.
By the way, the public should be able to speak in both directions.
Doesn't that violate some sort of something?
They're trying to demonstrate a demand.
I think they, before the vote?
Yeah, it could be positive or negative. You want people there to either say, yeah, we totally want it, or no, we don't. I mean, you gotta give people an opportunity there. We approved one on Chambers Street and it went over very well and it's a good business and neighbor, so.
It seems
So-
like it's been fine.
Yeah, public should be able to speak at the beginning of a meeting before applications are considered. What was your second thing, Mark?
Same with the community board, and then reiterate the schools, we have language on that already.
On the school thing,
Yeah.
the school thing is a bigger issue that requires other people leaning in to help.
Yeah, but just as long as we're on record again with it.
The,
But yeah, no, I know it's.
You
we
mean like
spoke about it.
the education committee?
I mean, I defer to the chair, but at the moment, it's been Tammy and me, basically.
Why was it always just the schools and not churches also?
They do have churches. There's
Yeah,
one church.
school and church, that's what I meant. I forgot.
And synagogue, what else?
Uh,
Religious
Churches, houses of
institutions.
worship are different than schools.
Yeah.
Houses of-
And in general, in New York City, houses of worships are independent buildings, whereas schools no longer are, they're co-located. So technically, under the current rules, you can open a pot shop in the lobby of the Millennium High School.
Right, yeah, that's the irony of it, that's what can happen. That's why it
Okay,
needs to be
so
delineated.
Mark's 3 notes, Brandon.
Sorry, I can't get it out, but Jared, it might deflect to you, because I don't know if this necessarily needs to be in this resolution or not, but the thing I'm thinking about is how we have limitations on like smoke shops, like the amount within a neighborhood or whatever community. If we can start to push for that, which will then start to kind of break up this kind of 500 to 1,000 foot thing, if we are at our limit of cannabis shops, retail shops.
There is a limit to retail tobacco stores where technically we're not supposed to be able to open anymore because we're well above.
Right, that's what I mean. So if we can implement something similar for retail cannabis, I think that would also help us in terms of this like distancing between.
I mean, I agree with you. That's not a thing. I don't know that they.
I don't think OCM has been smart enough to get to that point.
It just seems like they would look at everything else as licensed and figure it out.
Well, you would think that they would have looked at all the other states that have done this and done it successfully, going back to Colorado in 2014 or whatever, and have gotten this way better, but they are too stupid. I don't care if that's on record.
Just care about the tax revenue.
I don't disagree. Okay, Betty, do you have anything you want to add?
No, but I especially like his point, that it's by community district limits.
Yep.
Would actually, to me, be way more, be much smarter than the distance between them, personally.
I mean, it's interesting, in looking at that, I never saw that before, on the maps for the outdoor seating, one referred to certain streets as regional.
Retail corridors, yeah, versus neighborhood.
I would much rather see these things limited to.
Regional corridors. That'd be nice. That's an interesting point, yeah. No, let's try to have some control.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean, yeah. Chamber Street seemed like a great location for it. It seems like it hasn't been problematic at all.
Correct.
It's.
It's a little street like
For that matter.
Green Street, you know.
Or mostly residential,
Yeah.
or schools.
That are small
Yeah, but
streets.
not,
But not.
yeah.
So Jared, are you saying leave it at 1,000 foot unless on a commercial corridor?
And limiting, have some kind of cap on the distance.
Yeah, I have, prior to enhancing distancing reductions, establish a max number of legal stores per community district. And then it would be consider instituting,
Yeah, I mean, these ones that you try to open up are primarily residential streets, which seems like a,
Yes,
because even if people want to partake, doesn't mean that.
they can walk. Walk.
I think we
Well,
have,
Yes, I agree.
we already
It's
have
not-
some that are.
You know, I would.
okay. So I have 5 points on here, right? And we are, it's in general a no. And what we're saying is no unless the public comment and feedback period is done at the beginning of the meeting. You have to, I'm gonna ask you to write that out for me because whether it's CCB meetings or OCM, either of them, right? Before any applications are considered, keep community board comment periods. Concerns still exist about citing distances as applies to schools and mixed use.
Schools, religious institutions, and mixed use.
It's called house of worship.
We have, whatever you want to call it.
Okay, prior to relaxing distancing reductions, establish maximum number of legal stores per community district.
Yes, I would.
And consider, instead of considered reductions to distancing, reduce only along regional
regional streets
Limit.
defined.
Limit, not reduce, limit.
And it's commercial.
I do a commercial, it's regional, it's very loaded terms. Look at that, right back at, and it should $5.
Saying,
Commercial.
look, only, well, you can't use commercial necessarily because
Some of the small streets have
are
commercial.
commercial streets.
I mean, depending on the
Well,
zoning,
they're-
it's complicated.
But if we're talking about what DOT considers regional corridors, that is a,
Can we limit it to the avenues essentially?
well, but a regional corridor could be 9A, could be, it's Broadway, West Broadway, Church,
Isn't Chambers Street a
Chamber.
and that's a, wasn't that a reason?
How would this impact the rest?
It's
of the
almost
state?
everything.
That's almost every street.
Like, would this mean that it would just
Is it
be,
a corridor?
how do you determine this on the rest of it?
In Broadway, yeah.
Broadway, yes.
Does this, like, if you're in Westchester, what does it mean?
I don't know the answer to that. All right, so, well, I can't call a question.
I'll call the question.
Where do we?
So.
With no unless,
So unless.
no unless, the various things we've added. So what do we have instead of, the street?
It says, instead of general reductions to distancing, look at distancing reductions available only in commercial corridors, is what we said. Or we could say.
Corridors, I think.
Yeah, okay.
Regional, that would be one place where a lot of people live in finite
Do
countries.
we have a, sorry to harp on it, but do we have a definition for commercial corridors? Because what I keep coming back to is
put it in quotes.
the applicant, well, we've had a couple applicants come in for, it was literally like an apartment building on Murray.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Is that a commercial?
Okay, so
City of, yes.
it's characterized by, an area of non-residential land uses like retail and business typically located along major highways or intersections that serves as a hub for local and regional.
That's called a commercial corridor.
Probably a non-New York.
Yeah, that's commercial
Yeah,
corridor, so it wouldn't be city
You just
specific,
say
but this would impact the rest of the state.
So some of the
it feels like-
places in Tribeca have underlying zoning that could like negate, a residential neighborhood to a commercial neighborhood,
Yeah.
even though it's residential. That
Can you
would.
look for regional
Yeah.
corridor, what that means?
Regional corridor.
Because I know what it means for DOT, there's a certain number of
Right.
streets that
So-
they have outlined on that,
But-
but that doesn't mean that it's the same way.
Well, you know, every reason, but see, they're not gonna know what it is.
Well, remember,
Yeah,
we're
it's still-
only talking about New York City anyway, because all of the stuff that we're caring about is for cities with a population of, well, maybe 20.
Yeah, it's New York City.
Corridor adjusted DOT things, it's the only thing that shows up.
Well, we can, I mean, they're
City.
state agencies or whatever, so we can refer to DOT's definition and link maybe.
Yeah.
How about non-residential commercial corridor?
We can say commercial corridors, you know.
Can you preface it by saying non-residential commercial corridor?
But our commercial corridors have residential on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, some places.
Come on, Broadway.
Let's worry about that.
Yeah, right, West Street. Yeah.
Did everything.
Okay, so with, the 5 notes
Call
on,
the question.
do I have,
Second.
Here again.
are there any no's? No. Any abstentions?
I'm a state.
Okay.
However.
Members abstains. Motion passes. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
And then are we
Oh,
doing
God, I
committee-
hate this.
Are y'all doing committee reports or no?
Do you want to do committee reports?
No.
No,
We'll hear about it tomorrow.
we'll hear about it tomorrow.
Yeah, full report
There we go.
tomorrow night.
And we should
Ending
we
the
talk,
recording, meeting
should we
adjourned.
talk about order of committees? So
Yeah.
that-
Yeah, I can stop the recording to do
Okay.
that. There you go. Hold on.